Go. Without waiting for Red Dragon Zaka to drive the 6th and 7th flaming meteors, Yunshi held Red Dragon Zaka and fell towards the ground as fast as he could. Why, I can definitely blow up it. Red Dragon Zaka knocked Yunshi's ear in dissatisfaction, completely unable to understand his action. Yunshi didn't have time to explain, but opened his lava shield once again. Compared to Red Dragon Zaka's reckless attack, when the two of them were working together, he was better at completing her deficiencies, completing support and defense. As it turns out, Yunshi made the right choice. After being blown to only half of its initial size, the black star of the sand, which revealed the structure of the dark matter inside, instantly accelerated and flew to the interior of the fire cloud. In the next second, endless waves of black light began to spread, and black matter full of malicious intent gushed out of the star of the sand's interior as if it had opened a hole to another world. Red Dragon Zaka's 6th and 7th flaming meteors were almost instantly swallowed by the black matter, contaminated, and then collapsed, and all the fire clouds around them were absorbed by the black star of the sand. How is it possible that Sister's star of the sand doesn't have that kind of ability at all? Red Dragon Zaka looked in shock at the black star that swallowed her forbidden spell Meteorite Fire Rain. This was never the ability her sister she knew possessed. It's Black Dragon Zaka's ability. Yunshi also did not know the principle of this, only to increase the danger of Black Dragon Zaka by another level. Deep, location, like something that can never be peered into the depths of darkness. Devouring everything, dominating everything, like the deepest incarnation of terror. The strongest Zaka. How can we win in this situation? Red Dragon Zaka gritted her teeth as she looked at the dangerous black star in the air. After devouring her forbidden spell Meteorite Fire Rain, the black star's shell took on a hot, dark red color and had clearly become more powerful. The evidence of this was that there were black pulp bubbles starting to form in the sky, and black clouds were constantly tumbling, almost exactly like the Meteorite Fire Rain not long ago. There was even a black thread connecting heaven and earth, which was evidence that this heaven and earth were about to be invaded by the power of darkness. The entire world emanated a full of malice towards Yunshi and Red Dragon Zaka. Fight through. Yunshi could not resolve the nature of the black thread either. It was not something he was good at in the first place. Black Dragon Zaka's power was beyond his imagination. She was probably the most ferocious opponent he had encountered since coming to this world. Her power alone surpassed the sum of her three sisters, and it was almost as if the world was doomed to be ended. The Dragon of Doom, Black Dragon Zaka, is perhaps the aptest name for her. There is no retreat. There is no escape. Then, let's fight. Yunshi stopped to think about anything else. Since the other side has forced him into such a desperate situation, then the rest is as simple as it can be. Ah, just what I want. Good, no matter who the opponent is, we will win. A burning spark shone out of Red Dragon Zaka's eyes, and the gaze that she looked at Yunshi became even more passionate. As long as we are together, we can defeat any opponent. We don't need to ask who the enemy is, we just need to win all the way. Even if the opponents are my sisters. Roa. As if feeling the inseparable connection between Yunshi and Red Dragon Zaka, the fierce and violent aura on Desert Dragon Zaka rose higher and higher. It seems that this couple has completely angered the master of the desert. The four sand eyes, in unison, turned deep black, as if heralding the coming of calamity. Soon after, the black sandstorm arrived. This is not just a storm of sand and gravel, but also mixed with the black matter that constantly falls from the sky. It looks like the entire garden is filled with this distorted power, not giving even a hint of survival to Yunshi and Red Dragon Zaka. The Desert Dragon Zaka is so crazy. As long as we hold hands, Red Dragon Zaka took a deep breath. Then we can conquer everything. Yunshi smiled, matching Red Dragon Zaka pointing at Desert Dragon Zaka's huge head in the darkness. Thunder Blast. Inferno Blast. Lightning jumped on his fingertips, pointing the way to hope for Yunshi. The fiery firelight flies, opening the waymarker for Red Dragon Zaka to gain victory. The lightning and fire, transformed into sharp blades that tore through everything, broke through the endless darkness and blasted Desert Dragon Zaka's dragon head with unerring accuracy. Gah! Desert Dragon Zaka, whose defense had been greatly increased, was not repulsed this time, and even took the initiative to create a barrier of darkness in front of herself to block the extremely lethal flame light. However, the real attack was not an inflammation blast, nor a thunder blast, but the two who came sprinting after locking onto their target. 1,000 strikes in one instant. Yunshi unleashed the power of the battle god's seed, bringing the indestructible nature of the hard body to its fullest. The dragon claw tear apart everything. Although there is no such thing as the hard body, the dragon's body itself is strong enough. When swinging the dragon claws, it is even more powerful. It's not a forbidden spell, nor a martial art skill, but simply a synchronized attack that brings out the best in both of their physical abilities. As if sensing something, Desert Dragon Zaka stamped her 4 claws on the ground and summoned back all the sand eyes that were spread out in 4 directions. But it was too late. Bang! 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 Yunshi's fists bombarded Desert Dragon Zaka's head like a fierce storm, smashing her head with all his strength. Hiss! 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 Red Dragon Zaka's red dragon claws kept flashing from left to right and then right to left again, tearing a crack in her sister's head. Combo, combo, and combo again. If it was Yunshi, or Red Dragon Zaka alone, more or less there would be a slight pause among the attacks, but after the two join forces, there is no longer a weakness. Even with Red Dragon Zaka's Dragon Claw attacks assistance, Yunshi can also switch between the hard body and the soft body in the process of attacking, from time to time cast his soft water palm, striking Desert Dragon Zaka's head that has long been injured 1,000 times. Under the triple blows of Steel Fist, Soft Water Palm, and Dragon Claw, Desert Dragon Zaka finally collapsed, spitting out her tongue and announcing her defeat with dizziness in her eyes. The 4 sand eyes hovering around her also kept spinning and fell to the ground, just like their master. The black star suspended in the sky recovered all the black breath and flew quickly to the higher realm. Gah, my head is going to break. Desert Dragon Zaka was lying in the sand pit with an airless look. Her original huge body also began to shrink and finally transformed back to the human appearance. Sister, is everything okay? Although just now she teamed up with Yunshi to beat Desert Dragon Zaka, she does care about her sister. She knows when it's time to fight and when it's time to love. This is the style of Red Dragon Zaka. You are, sister. Desert Dragon Zaka shook her head and recognized the sister in front of her. Yes, I am Red Dragon Zaka, your proud sister. Red Dragon Zaka stroked Desert Dragon Zaka's head and disliked Yunshi with a grumbling look. You've broken my sister's head. If not, she can't get rid of Black Dragon Zaka's domination. Yunshi helplessly shrugged his shoulders. Shaheen, hug me. After saying hello to her sister, Desert Dragon Zaka began to pamper Yunshi. Well, after Black Dragon Zaka's absolute domination disappeared, she ended up choosing the truest second memory, the one belonging to the third princess, only slightly mixed with some of the first memories. She is the child of the great original dragon, the king of the Western Desert, married to the prince called Shaheen, and is in her honeymoon period. The lies Yunshi told really fooled Desert Dragon Zaka completely. Shaheen. Red Dragon Zaka suddenly had some kind of very bad premonition. After watching Yunshi lightly pick up Desert Dragon Zaka, whose limbs were sore and weak, and started to knead the weak parts of her limbs, Red Dragon Zaka instantly exploded. What is your relationship with my sister? Yunshi looked awkwardly at Desert Dragon Zaka, who was pampering herself in his arms. What should he do at this point? Of course it's a couple relationship, I'm already married to him. Desert Dragon Zaka had a rightful expression and told the truth, making Red Dragon Zaka's eyebrows rise. Red Dragon Zaka was so angry that her eyebrows went up. Tell the truth. In a rage, she pinched Yunshi's neck. If he does not explain, she is ready to give him a bloody end. Well, I did marry your sister. In the end, Yunshi could only throw up his hands in surrender and honestly tell the truth about his relationship with Desert Dragon Zaka. Oh my god, isn't my sister dead? In the end, what happened? Red Dragon Zaka felt that her outlook on life, her worldview all collapsed. Her sister, who she thought was dead, was not dead. The Yunshi that she thought belonged to only herself, had married her sister Desert Dragon Zaka long ago. Why didn't you tell me? Why did you deceive me? Red Dragon Zaka's eyes were filled with tears, and the hand that was pinching Yunshi's neck was harder. If the flower had not restrained Red Dragon Zaka's strength, maybe Yunxi's neck would have been snapped like a chicken. I didn't cheat you. You never asked either. What is my relationship with your sister? Yunxi argued helplessly. Ah. Red Dragon Zaka then realized that she really never asked about the relationship between him and her sister. In her perception, both of her sisters had died long ago, and she was carrying the unfinished mission of her sisters, realizing the plan of conquering the world. After meeting with Yunxi, she also never thought about whether the person she likes will have other lovers. Even if there was, it was going to be none, because she would definitely finish the other party off. She was the proud Red Dragon Princess. How could she tolerate her lover having other lovers? But what if that lover is her own sister? In this case, isn't she the third party? It hurts so much. You hit me really unkindly. Desert Dragon Zaka pressed her head with a bitter expression, only her eyes were filled with sweetness. If you keep on beating me, I will become stupid for the rest of my life. You have to take up the responsibility of taking care of me. No matter what, I'm your third princess. The third. Red Dragon Zaka suffered bludgeoning damage again. Sister, you are the third princess, then who are the first and second princesses? This guy, is he? Red Dragon Zaka had a sense of tragedy that the world was coming to an end. Well, this guy, he didn't only marry me. Let me count, the Queen of Assyria is the first princess, her daughter is the second princess, I am the third princess, and Ice Dragon Zaka is the fourth princess. In that order, if he marries you, you will be the fifth princess. Desert Dragon Zaka finished counting the number. The moment she heard this bad news, Red Dragon Zaka felt like she had become a huge tragedy. The person she liked not only had 2 feet in the boat, but 3, 4, and she seemed to be the fifth. The great original dragon mother, she now wants to bite him to death. I won't marry him, I won't marry him, I won't marry him even if I die. As a representative of the passionate side of the 4 sisters of Zaka, Red Dragon Zaka was extraordinarily intolerant of the person she likes to be philandering. For the human who is a philanderer, it is really better to burn. Red Dragon's flame is perfect for this kind of task. What did you do to her? You villain. Desert Dragon Zaka bit Yunxi's ear. I'm innocent, she's the one who took a swing at me. Yunxi also did not want to become like this. If he had not saved the dying Red Dragon Zaka, then perhaps nothing would have happened. But he would have regretted it for the rest of his life if he had not saved the sister of the princess he had married from the brink of death. Your body, there is a special smell. Probably, as long as it is Zaka, all will like your smell. Desert Dragon Zaka stretched her arms and legs a bit. It's really strange, obviously, her head was badly wounded. After making out with Yunxi like this, Desert Dragon Zaka felt like she came to life all of a sudden. Sure enough, he was the only one who was different. I want to withdraw from the marriage. Red Dragon Zaka roared and shouted out her declaration. Withdraw from the marriage? Yunxi felt confused. Between him and Red Dragon Zaka, there was no such thing as a marriage contract. Retirement. Desert Dragon Zaka was surprised. She felt that there was no happier day in this world than the days with Yunxi. By analogy, Red Dragon Zaka must also have understood how happy it is to be with the person you love, right? Yes, withdraw from the marriage, goodbye, and never see you again. Red Dragon Zaka was serious. Her proud princess heart could not bear the fact that the person she loved did not belong to her alone. Rather than suffer the humiliation, she simply kicked him out. That's the difference between her and her sisters. The Red Dragon Princess will never be a slave. Farewell forever, *E. Turning around, Red Dragon Zaka's determination was unshakable. Then, at a distance of about 1 Zaka away, she fell down, and the whole body rapidly weakened, falling into a near-death state. Hey, she is really a child like you. Looking at Red Dragon Zaka, Yunxi sighed, while holding Desert Dragon Zaka in his arms, walked to the fainted Red Dragon Zaka and extended his right hand. The hand feel was as good as ever, even the rhythm of the heartbeat was so familiar. Oh, miscalculated. Red Dragon Zaka regained her consciousness and looked at Yunxi with hateful eyes. Hate you, I hate you, this philanderer. The young girl's angry roar rang through the sky. Withdraw the marriage. Withdraw the marriage. You liar. Let go of me and untie this thread. Even if I'll die and be buried in a coffin, I definitely don't want to be with you. In response to Red Dragon Zaka's angry rebuke, Yunshi couldn't do anything about it. This green flower is not something that he can create, the way to unlock it, he does not know it either. You saved her, and then the two of them got entangled in the thread. The rejuvenated desert dragon Zaka finally jumped down from Yunshi's embrace and curiously kept moving her little hand between Yunshi and Red Dragon Zaka, trying to catch the invisible thread of life. I'm so jealous. Why don't I have this thread? Well, it looks like Desert Dragon Zaka is interested in the play of tying herself and Yunshi together with a thread. You have married my sister, and still dare to seduce me? You shameless bastard. Say, how many other fiancés and lovers do you have? Red Dragon Zaka's anger value continued to rise, especially after finding Yunshi was really counting how many fiancés and lovers he had. Punch, kick, fierce bite, dragon claws, dragon tail. She used all the attacks that could be used, but unfortunately, under the suppression of the green flower in the heart, all these attacks were just tickling for Yunshi. You two are so close, when will the wedding take place? With a smile on her face, Desert Dragon Zaka looked at Red Dragon Zaka, who was scratching and biting Yunshi. Probably this is a special way for her sister to show her love. Sister, what makes you think that we are close? I hate him. I want to eat him. Red Dragon Zaka opened her mouth, revealing her sharp little dragon teeth, and quickly and forcefully bit Yunshi's ear. Actually, he and I got familiar by fighting too. This guy just owes it. When it comes to the history of love with Yunshi, Desert Dragon Zaka has very common words with her sister. A giant dragon would never like a weakling. It took Yunshi showing how strong he was to get the love of Zaka sisters. That's right, beat him to death. Red Dragon Zaka gritted her teeth and stared at Yunshi, who had a helpless expression on his face. Well, this is not the time to talk about that. Here it comes. Yunshi grabbed the two Zakas in his hands and violently picked up his speed. Boom. The dark dragon that wrapped its body around the last tower of this world poured endless dark air into the first floor of this tower, the Garden of the Four Seasons that symbolizes paradise. As if the great flood of doom had arrived, the entire first floor was quickly submerged and swallowed up, leaving only a fragile ladder shaking. In the huge wave of darkness, Yunshi with two Zakas, stepping on the ladder that was already about to break, rushing together into the second layer of the tower. Here, a world of ice and snow, formed a stark contrast with the garden in the first layer. They couldn't see what this layer originally looked like, because everything here has been covered with ice and snow. The sky, with black snowflakes falling, emitted an unusually ominous aura. The deep black star suspended in the sky, and under the star was a figure Yunshi was familiar with. Ice Dragon Zaka, who was originally wearing a blue dress, also changed into a black dress. Like a magical girl from the midst of hell, her forehead stretched out a pair of light black dragon horns. The betrayer must die. Like Desert Dragon Zaka, who once was dominated by Black Dragon Zaka, Ice Dragon Zaka's eyes were also filled with darkness. Desert Dragon Zaka's god weapon, the Star of the Sand. Ice Dragon Zaka's own god weapon, Forced Dragon Teeth. The two god weapons of different attributes were now held in Ice Dragon Zaka's hand at the same time. Black gravel fell on the ground where Ice Dragon Zaka was standing, making this layer of the tower, which had long been covered with ice and snow, become even more bizarre and deeper. I did not betray my mother. Red Dragon Zaka swore that she had never entertained the thought of betraying her great original dragon mother. The charge that her sister had given herself was completely false. It was simply too wrong. Betrayal, unforgivable. Dominating the body of Ice Dragon Zaka, Black Dragon Zaka just took a glance at that man who was embracing her two sisters in each arm, and she made the judgment. All of them are betrayers. Mother, is it? Compared to Red Dragon Zaka, who didn't know anything, Desert Dragon Zaka had some vague suspicions. If Zakas will like the taste of Yunshi, then the so-called betrayal from the great original dragon mother, does it mean? Looking at Desert Dragon Zaka pulling Yunshi's left hand, and Red Dragon Zaka pulling Yunshi's right hand, Black Ice Dragon Zaka's eyes became more and more icy cold. All of you, go to hell. I never thought that I would have to fight with my sister one day. Desert Dragon Zaka moved her arms and legs, and her battle intent was raised high. Ice Dragon Zaka, sister, I did not betray mother. In contrast, Red Dragon Zaka's mood was a bit low, completely unaware of what she had done wrong. Enemy, Yunshi mood is quite mixed. Defeat the evil dragon is the main task he must complete, so it's not wrong for Black Dragon Zaka to regard him as an enemy. But why did he, a brave man who was going to slay dragons, marry the daughters of the dragon? Now there are already 3 Zakas who have an intimate relationship with him. Something must have gone wrong. Bet on the name of the 3rd princess, I'll make you recover, sister. Desert Dragon Zaka leapt up high, and 4 sand eyes appeared around her at the same time, then set into her limbs, giving her superpower and speed. This is Desert Dragon Zaka's all-out fighting mode. The loss of the Star of the Sand did not depress Desert Dragon Zaka, but rather aroused the fighting factor in her body. Even if her clan was wiped out, and even her god weapon was taken away by Black Dragon Zaka, as long as this wild fighting spirit is still there, Desert Dragon Zaka will never be defeated. Mirror, Ice Dragon Zaka moved her fingers and quickly summoned 1 mirror of ice after another. Of the 4 sisters of Zaka, Ice Dragon Zaka has the most stable fighting style. She's not the same as Desert Dragon Zaka, and she's not the same as Red Dragon Zaka. She's good at formulating a strategy and then executing that strategy to win. Like the ice and snow that never melts in the north, she is cold and cruel. Ding, ding, ding. Dozens of ice mirrors were blasted into pieces by Desert Dragon Zaka in one breath, while Ice Dragon Zaka's figure completely disappeared into this world of ice and snow. Relatively, there was more black gravel falling from the black star of the sand in the sky, and the surrounding temperature began to become icier and biting. Is she trying to freeze us all to death? Yunshi, holding Red Dragon Zaka's hand, slightly estimated the surrounding temperature. It was already below -100 degrees. It's difficult to describe the icy world filled with cold fog at this moment, and the fog is definitely not any water fog, but a cold that can completely freeze human blood. Gradually, these fogs transformed into some kind of humanoid silhouette, that is the ice creature that inhabits the end of the world, Ice Spirit. They are minions of Ice Dragon Zaka. These white spirits every night will wander in the ice and snow. Once encountered humans, they will take the initiative to approach, and then take away these humans' lives. Because the ice world in the far north has a special law of day and night, half of the time only these spirits who can ignore the temperature are wandering in the earth. With the appearance of ice spirits, the surrounding temperature plummeting became faster. It's cold, my sister is really angry. As a fire dragon and a desert dragon, Red Dragon Zaka and Desert Dragon Zaka are very uncomfortable with this environment. The feeling of ice and darkness coming at the same time is absolutely cold and bone-chilling, like even time is frozen in the deepest nightmare. Why are you hiding? Fight me head-on. The belligerent Desert Dragon Zaka felt all her strength hit the air, and it was the first time she found her Ice Dragon sister so unpredictable. With all the sand eyes glowing, Desert Dragon Zaka struck with all her might, blasting the ground into a field of spreading quicksand. This move, theoretically, could counteract Ice Dragon Zaka's ice field. With all 4 sand eyes activated, Desert Dragon Zaka still had overwhelming strength. It's ready. Ice Dragon Zaka's figure flashed and instantly appeared in front of Desert Dragon Zaka. Unlike the last battle with the Queen of Assyria, for her sister's moves, Ice Dragon Zaka did not keep any unknown. When Ice Dragon Zaka, who is good at analyzing the opponent's moves and formulating strategies, showed up, it was actually destined to be Desert Dragon Zaka's defeat. The huge black star of the sand descended directly from the sky and pressed down on Desert Dragon Zaka's body, while dozens of silver-white ice chains bound Desert Dragon Zaka's limbs and body, completely suppressing Desert Dragon Zaka. Freeze. The ice blue glow spread out, Desert Dragon Zaka's body was instantly surrounded by countless ice flakes, and then the entire person was buried into a huge crystal coffin. With this crystal coffin as the center, the entire second floor was covered by endless ice and snow. Even icebergs of over hundreds of meters rose from the ground, completely turning this floor of space into Ice Dragon Zaka's absolute home turf. Next, is you guys. Like an ice queen standing on top of the ice coffin, Ice Dragon Zaka's eyes turned black, like Desert Dragon Zaka's not long ago. Sister. Seeing Desert Dragon Zaka being sealed into the ice coffin, Red Dragon Zaka's eyes instantly turned red. The time spent with Desert Dragon Zaka, the time spent arguing with her sister, and even the time spent gambling, was actually very enjoyable for Red Dragon Zaka, who was only recently born. Because she is such a nagging and adventurous sister. No matter what mistakes her sister made, she will forgive her. Understand? We have to fight. Yunshi held Red Dragon Zaka's hand, and now only if the two of them joined forces with all their strength could they defeat Ice Dragon Zaka. Ah, I know, I'll get my sisters back to normal. Red Dragon Zaka nodded her head. Since she and Yunshi could bring Desert Dragon Zaka back to her senses, they must also be able to bring Ice Dragon Zaka back as well. The Ice Dragon Zaka she remembered looked a little cold, but she actually loved to be with everyone. The current Ice Dragon Zaka is definitely not the normal Ice Dragon Zaka. The betrayer must be excluded. Saw Yunshi and Red Dragon Zaka holding hands, Ice Dragon Zaka's eyes became angrier. As long as we hold hands. Yunshi once again took Red Dragon Zaka's small hand, and the two looked at each other with affection. It is a memory that will never be forgotten. Red Dragon Zaka was also very cooperative with Yunshi. At this moment facing the terrifying Black Dragon Zaka, only when the two entered the highest synchronized state, there was the light of victory. Snort. It might be an illusion, but an expression that seemed to be stung by something did appear on Ice Dragon Zaka's beautiful face. There was also more than a hint of confusion and uneasiness in her pitch-black pupils. Why is there a dark flame burning in the chest just by looking at the pair holding hands? The young girl's heart suffered a great injury. Look, the sky is burning. Yunshi judged that continuing to let the temperature drop would do more harm than good, so he decisively let Red Dragon Zaka launch the forbidden spell again. Let the entire world burns. Red Dragon Zaka's petite index and middle fingers stood side by side, pointing high and proudly at the sky. Huge fire clouds quickly gathered, forming a scorching cloud that could release a shower of meteorite fire. However, only half of the sky was occupied by Red Dragon Zaka's fire clouds this time, and the other half of the sky was still occupied by the Black Star. The forbidden fire cloud that Yunshi and Red Dragon Zaka released together only appeared in the sky where they were. The entire second floor of the tall tower turned into a world of half ice and half fire. First shot. The second meteoric fire rain came with great force, and the 7-star forbidden spell took shape even faster and more ferociously than when Red Dragon Zaka fought against Desert Dragon Zaka. This also means that the bond between her and Yunshi has become even stronger. After experiencing the jealousy with Desert Dragon Zaka, she, who on the surface seems to have sworn to be at odds with Yunshi, seems to like Yunshi even more instead. In this world, the most moving and unforgettable thing is precisely what you cannot obtain. The strong sense of turpitude will instead make the flame of romance burn more fiercely. Speaking of the personal battle power, she is only inferior to Black Dragon Zaka amongst the 4 sisters. She is the dominator of the flame. In terms of attributes, she has fully restrained her sister, Ice Dragon Zaka. The fire meteor blasted down, and Ice Dragon Zaka's ice field was smashed out of a large crack. Searing hot lava ejected from the ground, like a volcanic eruption. The pillar of fire that connects heaven and earth burns like the scenery inside Red Dragon Zaka's heart at this moment. Her battle power has increased. Ice Dragon Zaka quickly calculated the value of Red Dragon Zaka's battle power at this moment and came up with a very frightening number. It was a number that the original Red Dragon Zaka had not reached, and it was the best proof that her combat power had improved by joining forces with Yunshi. Not only Red Dragon Zaka, but also the sealed Desert Dragon Zaka showed a combat power that did not match the data model. If Desert Dragon Zaka was smarter and hadn't fallen into Ice Dragon Zaka's trap, she might have been able to defeat Ice Dragon Zaka. Why? Why did their fighting power fluctuate so strangely? Second shot. Third shot. With flames burning in Red Dragon Zaka's eyes, 2 consecutive shots of flaming meteors fell. 2 more pillars of fire appeared between heaven and earth, and 2 more volcanic eruptions appeared on the ground. She was not transformed into a dragon posture, but she naturally emitted the aura of the Flame Dominator. All of the 4 Zaka sisters have this aura, but at this moment, Red Dragon Zaka played better than the other 3 sisters, closer to the essence of the original dragon. That is a kind of verve that can do anything and defeat any enemy. Red Dragon Zaka doesn't believe in miracles. What she believes in is herself, or the power of herself and Yunshi after joining forces. Ice. Land. Ice Dragon Zaka unleashed the forbidden spell of ice and snow that was limited to 3 times a day. An endless cold wind of ice and snow blew up, and more ice flakes swept towards the flaming field dominated by Red Dragon Zaka. Red Dragon Zaka swung her small hand down without any fear. Soon, the 4th and 5th flaming meteors fell from the clouds. With an earth-shattering explosion, the forbidden spells of fire and ice each unleashed their full power. The temperature of the air plummeted again, while the 4th and 5th pillars of fire appeared in Red Dragon Zaka's domain. It seemed to be a no-win situation, but Ice Dragon Zaka judged that her forbidden spell was slightly inferior to Red Dragon Zaka's. Her forbidden spell Iceland was a wide-range ice spell for military use, with the power to change the terrain and the sky. The meteoric fire rain was an extremely difficult compound forbidden spell. At the 1-star to the 3-star stage, it's slightly inferior to Iceland. But once it ascended to 6 stars or more, it becomes a super forbidden spell that can change the weather and cause massive damage to a single person. To fight against the 7-star meteor fire rain, the forbidden spell Iceland alone is not enough. She needs stronger ice and snow power. Lift the restriction. Complex spell patterns emerged from Ice Dragon Zaka's pitch-black pupils, and the 2 pieces of God weapon began to fuse in her hand. The Star of the Sand, which represents the sand attribute of Desert Dragon Zaka. Forced Dragon Teeth, which represents the ice attribute of Ice Dragon Zaka. The 2 pieces of God weapon are different in nature but come from the same source, the original dragon. They began to combine together to become a stronger God weapon. It's a sword. With a golden spiral sword body, it's as sharp as if it can cut open the boundary between heaven and earth. The hilt of the sword is decorated with dragon teeth. Inscribed on the disc in the middle of the sword body, there are 4 slots that can inlay treasure beads into them. At this moment, the ice treasure bead slot and the sand treasure bead slot have been inlaid with treasure beads. It was a variant of a god weapon, and the part that appeared now was far from the full stance of the sword, but it already gave Red Dragon Zaka a great sense of oppression. When Red Dragon Zaka saw that sword, she could even feel a part of her body stirring inside. It was the original god weapon core of molten fire she held. It was resonating with the sword. As the one who has the strongest attack power among the 4 sisters, the god weapon held by Red Dragon Zaka was a dodecahedron-shaped gemstone that provided her with almost unlimited energy, and inside it was a jewel that represented the power of the original fire. In addition to the nightmare treasure bead held by Black Dragon Zaka, this flame treasure bead is the strongest of the 4 treasure beads and has the most destructive power. The 4 treasure beads of sand, ice, fire, and nightmare were given to the 4 Zaka sisters by the sleeping original dragon. The Star of the Sand, inlaid with a sand treasure bead, has an extremely large attack range and the ability to summon an entire desert army, specializing in ranged attacks. Forced Dragon Teeth, inlaid with ice treasure bead, can easily change the sky and terrain, and has the most powerful control ability. The Molten Fire core inlaid with the fire treasure bead holds the power of endless fire, and the Crimson Dragon raw wave it contained can destroy the world in minutes. This is the reason why Red Dragon Zaka's Crimson Dragon raw wave has such a terrifying spreading ability and its power keeps increasing. The final treasure bead, the black treasure bead that represents the nightmare, is in the hands of Black Dragon Zaka, who should not have woken up at this time, and whose god weapon is unknown. Now, Red Dragon Zaka saw the sword in Ice Dragon Zaka's hand and the empty red and black treasure bead slots, and instinctively understood that her god weapon, the Molten Fire core, was actually part of that sword. The source of power of the Zaka sisters all came from that sword, so the origin of this sword is self-explanatory. Mother Sama really thinks that I betrayed her? Red Dragon Zaka could not believe that this was the truth. She was actually a good child who was very family-oriented and never had the idea of betraying her mother. From her birth until now, she had definitely not done anything to disobey her mother's orders. She was obviously too good to be a Zaka. Whistle the desert wind Ice Dragon Zaka raised the golden sword in her hand, and the endless desert gale began to gather around her. The gravel falling from the black star of the sand in the sky was also continuously swept in by this huge storm, forming a black sandstorm connecting heaven and earth around Ice Dragon Zaka. Along with the black snowflakes that kept falling in the ice field, this scene looked incomparable, as if the distance between heaven and earth had become blurred in this instant. "Watch out, it's coming." Yunshi held Red Dragon Zaka's hand tightly, sending incomparable enthusiasm and strength to her heart. It was hope and faith, the courage to never give up and go forward no matter what kind of desperate situation they were facing. That is the fighting spirit held by Yunshi. In the dark forest, when facing the almost invincible green hippo. Under the giant tower, when charging at the legions of stone ghosts and red-clad archers. Even when he knew that his opponent was stronger than himself, he still had to challenge and find a chance to win. And, this time, he wasn't fighting alone, was he? "Do you believe in me?" Grabbing Red Dragon Zaka's hand, Yunshi's eyes became extraordinarily focused. Of course. Red Dragon Zaka nodded. The more she faced the crisis, the more she could feel the rhythm of their heartbeats become intense. Yes, she believed in the man in front of her, even though she knew that he was an *E who has an unspoken relationship with her sisters. But, she just likes him. She hopelessly likes him. This kind of like, with the passage of time, becomes more and more burning. Even because of his existence, she began to become more and more like the world. She wanted to live in this world with him, with her sisters, and wanted to know more about him. The fondness overflowed and could not be stopped, and she could not control herself for a long time. "Then, fight with me, to save this world. After everything is over, I will marry you." Yunshi said out the mission he was carrying, while perhaps making a promise. Since he has had 4 princesses, it was not unacceptable to have a 5th princess. In order to complete the trial of the Dragon War, he really did fight. "You big liar. I'm not going to be your 5th woman." Red Dragon Zaka puffed up her cheeks. For Yunshi's words, she did not want to believe a word of it. However, the curve of the mouth reveals her mind, that is a smile immersed in the imagination of a happy future. "Burn, my flame." The Yunshi who gained the initiative against Red Dragon Zaka for the first time learned from her fingers and raised his index and middle fingers. In the endless fire, the last few shots of flaming meteors fell at the same time, viciously blasting at the black star of the sand suspended above Ice Dragon Zaka's head. In the midst of the roaring flames, the endless black storm turned into a sword blade, falling towards Yunshi with the momentum of cutting through a world. Explosion. Yunshi decisively detonated the 7 pillars of fire that connected heaven and earth, releasing the full power of the forbidden spell, Meteoric Fire Rain, to confront Ice Dragon Zaka's sword that seemed to slice through the boundaries of heaven and earth. The power of the molten fire core is in full swing. Yunshi can even feel this fire god weapon in Red Dragon Zaka body cheering, recklessly liberating its own boundaries. Searing flames and wild storms intertwined, fiercely entangled in the central area of the ice and fire, tearing and melting each other, forming a flame storm over thousands of meters in diameter. "Ha, ha," Yunshi gasped. Although he has Red Dragon Zaka's near-infinite energy support, the 7-star forbidden spell is something that is just too terrifying. If this battle took place in the White Lotus Sword domain, probably under the attacks of 7 shots of flame meteor, the entire White Lotus Sword domain would be blown off from the middle. Ice Dragon Zaka also looked like she had overdrawn her strength. Her face became incomparably pale, and the color of the golden giant sword in her hand became dull. Without Red Dragon Zaka's molten fire core, this sword could not exert its full power, and the sword wind that had the power to tear the world apart just now was only a slice of this god weapon's true power. The complete form of this sword was not intended for the 4 Zaka sisters, but was a weapon belonging to the original dragon. More black gravel fell on Ice Dragon Zaka's body, infusing her with a power that did not belong to her. Yunshi wiped his sweat and held Red Dragon Zaka's small hand again. Each of them smiling. After the battle on the edge of life and death, the bond between them became even deeper. "I will fight on, together with you. This is the path we have chosen. As long as we hold hands, it is the memory that will never be forgotten." Faster than the ice dragon Zaka that had the support of the black star of the sand, the pair that held hands with each other was the first to recover their strength. Let's do it again. We believe in each other. As long as we love each other. Then we can turn the miracle into reality, not a spell, but better than a spell. It looks like just sweet words between lovers, but it really does inflict real damage to Ice Dragon Zaka. This is something that 100 human forbidden spells can't do, a special mental attack of Yunshi and Red Dragon Zaka. Boost, potential, black gravel with even larger dark matter sprinkled around Ice Dragon Zaka, forming a dark canopy. Surrounded by a black canopy, Ice Dragon Zaka became even more unfathomable, and the sense of intimidation she released rose at the same time. Feel that? Yunshi noticed something. It's not quite normal. Red Dragon Zaka also noticed that her own sister, Black Dragon Zaka, was unconsciously revealing problems. Black Dragon Zaka's domination was a forced domination that gave no room for thought, an absolute command from top to bottom. The Godslayer god weapon that she holds appears to be able to give battle commands without regard to the consciousness of the opponent. It's just that giving battle commands takes times and is more or less delayed. Although such absolute commands can make the dominated person become more powerful, their moves are somewhat inflexible. They can release more than 200% of the usual power, but cannot use their own combat skills to the limit. In numerical terms, Black Dragon Zaka can significantly improve the dominated's physical strength, agility, and even maintain the dominated's best fighting style. The only weakness is the reaction speed, which is why when Yunshi and Red Dragon Zaka drove straight in and beat Desert Dragon Zaka on the head, the Sand Eyes failed to intercept halfway. The Desert Dragon Zaka that had 4 Sand Eyes for all around 360-degree defense would not have made that kind of outrageous mistake. Then, let's go on in one breath. Switch battle mode. After discovering Black Dragon Zaka's domination mode's greatest weakness, Yunshi and Red Dragon Zaka gave up to continue to use forbidden spells, but launched Thunder Walk, moving at an incredible speed. In terms of human fighting style, Desert Dragon Zaka is more of a warrior type, while Ice Dragon Zaka is more of a mage type. Red Dragon Zaka is a magical warrior type, and Black Dragon Zaka is a mysterious unknown type. Like two thunderbolts running on the ground, sometimes intersecting, sometimes overlapping, the constantly rising spikes of glacier on the ground were completely unable to stop the assault of the two, all blasted into a shattering mass of ice and snow. Ice armor. Ice Dragon Zaka also responded in a mage style. She directly cloaked herself in a layer of azure ice armor. Its hardness was enough to rival Red Dragon Zaka's lava shield, and even had the special effect of bouncing off the enemy's physical attacks. However, she didn't know that Yunshi and Red Dragon Zaka were not just a pair that would only launch straight attacks. Dragon Claw. The huge dragon claws tore into Ice Dragon Zaka's body with a teeth-chattering tearing sound, but only left a few white marks on the seemingly thin layer of ice armor. The Ice Dragon Zaka, supported by the power of Black Dragon Zaka, has a magic limit that can strengthen the glacier armor to the limit, and Red Dragon Zaka's claws cannot directly tear through this seemingly thin layer of ice armor. However, Yunshi is different. The soft water palm, a technique that only a being with the soft body can perform, is a divine technique developed to break through the opponent's hard shell and hit the nail on the head. The snow-white palm turned over. As if pressing his lover's chest, Yunshi's hand reached out to the azure ice armor, completely ignoring the risk of frostbite on his palm, and gently pressed. What? Ice Dragon Zaka's whole body trembled, revealing an incomparable expression of surprise. Good opportunity. Yunshi saw the right time and struck Ice Dragon Zaka's right shoulder with 3 consecutive soft water palm strikes, and then grabbed Ice Dragon Zaka's right hand despite the risk of frostbite on his palm, making her unable to use the golden sword that had unpredictable power. This scene was almost exactly the same as when Desert Dragon Zaka was prevented from pulling out the Star of the Sand, except that the opponent was Ice Dragon Zaka instead. I'm sorry, sister. The Red Dragon Zaka, who was connected to Yunshi's mind, showed no mercy to her sister and also used her chest tilde to press Ice Dragon Zaka's other hand to the ground. Aga. Countless ice crystals exploded, 4 sand eyes flew over at the same time, and with them came Desert Dragon Zaka's fierce pounding. In just a few seconds, Ice Dragon Zaka, who was still brewing her next move, was overwhelmed by Yun-Shi and Red Dragon Zaka, as well as Desert Dragon Zaka, who had just gotten out of the trap. The slightest delay in Black Dragon Zaka's command became the biggest break in the battle. Hit her in the head, Desert Dragon Zaka shouted, swung her own fist and smashed it down, not showing any politeness at all. The golden giant sword suddenly shrank and then was swept away by the black star of the sand in the sky, and Black Dragon Zaka decisively abandoned the already suppressed Ice Dragon Zaka and flew towards the third level. It hurts. What's wrong with me? Why does my head so painful? The Ice Dragon Zaka, who had only just come to her senses, looked at the three people who were pressing their bodies and arms and legs together on her, and revealed a look of extreme contempt. Even if you can get my body, you won't get my heart, stupid prince. Ah, she comes back. Yun-Shi looked awkwardly at his hand that was pressing Ice Dragon Zaka's chest. Why this hand was in this position? Well, what an unsolvable mystery. Sister. Red Dragon Zaka hugged Ice Dragon Zaka with hot tears, crying like a child. Haha, I didn't hit the head, it wasn't me. Desert Dragon Zaka smiled sarcastically, with an innocent expression of I definitely didn't do it. Well, it must be this guy's fault, no matter what, it's his fault. Honestly. Tell me what happened. Ice Dragon Zaka pinched Yun-Shi's face with a serious face. So, Mother Sama thinks that we betrayed her? Ice Dragon Zaka skillfully pinched Yun-Shi's face and fell into a thoughtful state. I don't understand what's going on at all. I definitely didn't do anything to betray Mother. Red Dragon Zaka's eyes turned red. From birth until now, she has been working hard to complete the task given to her by the original Dragon Mother, and never thought about the word betrayal. Good, oh good. I know you are a good boy. Ice Dragon Zaka stared at Yun-Shi as if looking at a scum. It's all you're doing, right? A large bead of sweat fell on Yun-Shi's forehead. This is really a crime. If he did not save Red Dragon Zaka, she would have died a long time ago. As for why the original dragon thinks that her daughters have betrayed her, Yun-Shi himself is also confused. With Red Dragon Zaka's straightforward character, to be a traitor is really too hard for her. Is it possible that Black Dragon Zaka misunderstood Mother Sama's will? Mother Sama's true body should still be in a deep sleep. If Mother Sama woke up, it wouldn't be the same as it is now. Desert Dragon Zaka offered a different opinion. Then, is it the Black Dragon sister who is bent on doing what she wants? A spark of hope appeared in Red Dragon Zaka's eyes. Being questioned by the greatest original Dragon Mother, she couldn't imagine that. If it was just Black Dragon Zaka's misjudgment, then it would be acceptable. After all, the youngest sister was also the child with the purest of hearts, so there must be a misunderstanding somewhere. I don't think that things will be that simple. Ice Dragon Zaka shook her head. At least, she felt something from Mother Sama. Otherwise, it should be impossible for her to be born at this time. Unlike the three of us, her scheduled birth time was after the three of us had completely conquered this world. She is the ultimate dragon of doom, the fearsome existence that kills gods, Black Dragon Zaka. Red Dragon Zaka froze for a moment. The fire of hope that had just been kindled in her heart was extinguished at once, and she almost cried her nose off. Why does the sleeping Mother Sama think that we have betrayed her? What is the biggest difference between us and Black Dragon Zaka, who should not have been born? If there is really a decisive difference, Ice Dragon Zaka, who had pulled the biggest problem in this war out and analyzed the key to it, suddenly raised her eyebrows and stared at Yun-Shi. Is that you? The voice was unmistakable. It was the voice that has locked the culprit. It's him. Desert Dragon Zaka shrugged her shoulders. Back when she was possessed by Black Dragon Zaka, she had a feeling that her youngest sister had already found out about it. This should be said to be the wild intuition of love. She was the first to be possessed by Black Dragon Zaka, and understood more than anyone else the purity of that darkness. But when this Black Dragon Zaka, who had the absolute will and the ability to dominate, saw Yun-Shi, she froze, and her simple mind became confused. This person may be the natural enemy of Zaka's. Now, she, Ice Dragon Zaka, Red Dragon Zaka have fallen, only the last sister, Black Dragon Zaka, is left untouched. If the betrayal the great original dragon's mother means is this, they are really bad children who have eaten the forbidden fruit that they shouldn't have eaten and committed the unforgivable mistakes. What is it? The youngest of the three sisters, Red Dragon Zaka, still had no idea what she had done wrong, not even realizing that the mistake was irreversible. Is eating fruit that you shouldn't eat? Desert Dragon Zaka turned her head away with a shy look. Probably, because the mother is single, Ice Dragon Zaka said and got embarrassed. This is really a boudoir secret that cannot be told to outsiders. Well, the great, invincible original dragon that birthed 4 Zakas, is indeed a lonely dragon without any lovers. Mother is single, eating fruit? Is there something in the fruit I ate that made mother angry? Red Dragon Zaka was still ignorant of her sister's secret words. But Yunxi, who had been impure for a long time, understood it at once and showed an innocent expression of "it's not my fault." It means this, and that, as the eldest sister of the 4 Zaka sisters, Desert Dragon Zaka got closer to her sister Red Dragon Zaka's ear and began to teach her the things that were not taught in the textbook. What, he and you, this, and that, even do that kind of thing. I was victimized by him. Red Dragon Zaka looked at Yunxi with a bitter expression, almost going to pounce on him and bite him. Liar, big liar. After knowing the reason why she was being chased by Black Dragon Zaka, Red Dragon Zaka burst into tears. If she knew that this was such an unforgivable mistake in her mother's eyes, she would definitely bite him to death as soon as they met and eat him, and definitely not listen to every word he said. This guy's ability to deceive is so terrible. This is a big liar. Now he has done this, and that, everything is finished. Okay, you will become the 5th princess, just forgive him. Desert Dragon Zaka patted her sister's shoulder and said in a serious voice. Marrying this guy is the biggest mistake of this life. However, it is already a fait accompli, just accept this fate. Even at this kind of time, Ice Dragon Zaka also did not forget to sneer. What, the 5th princess? There is no such thing. Not a single possibility. Red Dragon Zaka's little face turned red all of a sudden. Why, you all have such sharp ears. When this guy made his promise, wasn't one of you sealed by the ice coffin and one of you still being dominated by Black Dragon Zaka? That promise was a secret between the two of them. Take it easy. I've already guessed who the 6th princess is. Desert Dragon Zaka had a look of this can't be a secret. Coincidentally, I also have a list of the 7th to 12th princesses in my mind. Ice Dragon Zaka looked at Yunxi with a scornful expression, as if she was looking at something dirty. The world is screwed. Yunxi covered his eyes and felt like he was pierced with 10,000 holes in his body. Why are my Zakas all monsters? Can we explain to Mother Sama? Why don't we just kick this liar away and go home? Red Dragon Zaka stomped on Yunxi's toes with her high heels, harder and harder. It's useless, we're already on the blacklist. Desert Dragon Zaka shook her head. The married daughters are like splashed water. Mother Sama must be angry hard, so she sent Black Dragon Zaka to hunt them down. Mother Sama is unexpectedly stubborn sometimes, we can't go back. Ice Dragon Zaka also agreed with Desert Dragon Zaka. The youngest sister's early birth is the best proof of that. Perhaps the great original dragon mother has not yet awakened, but has made her attitude clear. It's all your fault, it's all your fault, it's all your fault. Red Dragon Zaka with her small fist constantly pounded Yunxi's head. You were the first, Yunxi tried to argue, and instantly encountered the double scorn of Desert Dragon Zaka and Ice Dragon Zaka. You must have bullied my sister. She's so innocent, she doesn't know anything, and you have really done it, *E. That's right, he must have grabbed a hold of my sister and then started doing whatever he wanted to her, using all kinds of positions and pretending to be innocent. Yunxi knelt down and raised his hands in surrender. There is no doubt that his defeat rate is 100% when arguing with them. Meeting this big liar is the biggest misfortune in my life. That night, Red Dragon Zaka cried, which completely sat Yunxi the facts of the crime. Yunxi couldn't explain it even if he has 100 mouths. Okay, there's plenty of time to bully him later. Desert Dragon Zaka stroked the crying Red Dragon Zaka's head. Who will understand her time with Yunshi and her bitterness when she saw the prince's wedding? She was cheated by this liar from beginning to end, and even after becoming this guy's princess, she never forgot to teach him a lesson. Well, the battlefield is the bed. She has teamed up with her sister Ice Dragon Zaka and squeezed him dry many times. Congratulations, congratulations. Things have come to this point. We can only fight side by side with this guy to the end. If it's a combination of we three sisters and this guy, maybe there is still a chance of winning. Compared to Desert Dragon Zaka, Ice Dragon Zaka is obviously much calmer. There are 4 Zakas that were bred by the original dragon. In terms of absolute power alone, the longer the Zaka is bred, the stronger it is, so the situation of the 4 Zaka sisters is very simple. Desert Dragon Zaka can conquer the world but can't beat Ice Dragon Zaka. Ice Dragon Zaka can easily suppress Desert Dragon Zaka but is no match for Red Dragon Zaka. Red Dragon Zaka can beat her 2 sisters one by one, but there is nothing she can do against Black Dragon Zaka. The later the birth of Zaka, the more exponential increase in strength. Black Dragon Zaka is unbeatable facing her sisters alone. However, this is not a civil war between the Zaka sisters, there is also a variable. Yunshi, the person who caused the 3 Zaka sisters to be considered traitors by their own mother. He, then, is the key to deciding this victory. Your combined forces are very powerful. Desert Dragon Zaka grabbed Yunshi and Red Dragon Zaka's wrists and kept touching them, trying to touch the invisible thread of life. If it's as my sister said, this might be the key to change the situation. After knowing why Yunshi was inseparable from Red Dragon Zaka, Ice Dragon Zaka was also interested in this invisible thread. The 2 of them, Yunshi and Red Dragon Zaka, are basically in a bad situation when they face Desert Dragon Zaka and Ice Dragon Zaka one-on-one. However, after the 2 joined forces, they were able to beat the 2 Zakas, and even won by a large margin. This reveals some information. Whether it is Desert Dragon Zaka or Ice Dragon Zaka cannot be ignored. When it comes to intimacy with Yunshi, they are ahead of their own sister, Red Dragon Zaka. There is no reason for them to lose to the 3rd sister, Red Dragon Zaka. What Red Dragon Zaka can do, they can definitely do as well. Probably, it's the heart. Yunshi tapped his fingertips on the tip of Red Dragon Zaka's bud and felt the increasingly powerful heartbeat. After acquiring Red Dragon Zaka as a host body, the last blessing left by LVJI did not dissipate with time, but became more vibrant. As if that blessing that did not belong to this world was slowly becoming compatible with this world. Amazingly adaptable and tenacious. This flower left by LVJI has brought Yunshi so many surprises. Oh, it's here. Desert Dragon Zaka took the lead and attacked Red Dragon Zaka's chest, and put her ear up to listen to the heartbeat simulated by the green flower. What a miraculous power! I've never seen a flower with this kind of posture. Ice Dragon Zaka is also interested, reaching out her hands from behind to knead her sister's breasts. Sisters, don't keep pressing that place. My breasts are being rubbed by you. The Red Dragon Zaka, who was attacked by her sisters forcefully, was about to cry. Yunshi didn't even know where to look. This feeling. The left side is breast and the right side is breast. Is it heaven, or is it hell? The flower that resides in the heart of Red Dragon Zaka also seems to be very interested in Desert Dragon Zaka and Ice Dragon Zaka, because they are tainted with the same flavor that belongs to Yunshi. After recognizing their life pattern, this gift from LVJI began to stretch out its own petals. The thread of life, which was originally only 1, gradually split into 3, connecting one by one to the 3 Zakas. Chapter 8:10. 3 Dragons Alliance. Her? Ice Dragon Zaka was the first to sense the abnormality in herself. Arth, is this it? A little slower, but Desert Dragon Zaka also felt it shortly after. It was the feeling of the invisible thread that connected them to Yunshi. Through the flower at Red Dragon Zaka's heart, 3 threads of life were connected to Yunshi. If there is any difference, it is probably that the threads of Desert Dragon Zaka and Ice Dragon Zaka are much longer than those of Red Dragon Zaka. The thread of Desert Dragon Zaka is about 7 times longer than that of Red Dragon Zaka's. The thread of Ice Dragon Zaka is about 5 times longer than that of Red Dragon Zaka's. Moreover, after a little experimentation, even after leaving this range, the girls whose hearts were not missing did not enter the near-death state, but only temporarily disconnected from the thread of life. However, once you have tried the feeling of being connected to Yun Shi, you will soon become addicted. It is a wonderful state where life is connected and mutual thoughts can be felt. The two Zakas, who had long been with Yun Shi, quickly adapted to this state of connection. "Hey, I'll try it too." Desert Dragon Zaka pretended to hold out her index and middle fingers and raised her head. Meteor fire rain. Sadly, no flaming meteors fell, but instead a sandstorm blew over and began to coalesce sandstorm in the sky. Well, it looks like even with the link, she can't go beyond her domain to perform the forbidden spell that only Red Dragon Zaka can use. However, through the connection, Red Dragon Zaka's unique unlimited energy was shared by Desert Dragon Zaka, as evidenced by the sandstorm that was gradually forming in the sky. "It's so good." Desert Dragon Zaka happily hugged her sister, Red Dragon Zaka, and kept rubbing her cute little face. "You're really my most excellent sister." "Oh, is this the soft water palm?" Because of the completely conflicting attributes, Ice Dragon Zaka did not intend to master Red Dragon Zaka's power like Desert Dragon Zaka, but instead switched a direction. The gentle little hand caressed the earth, and the cold freezing air seeped into the ground, then exploded. This is certainly not Yun Shi's soft water palm. Just like the thunder blast in Red Dragon Zaka's hand becomes a lava blast, Ice Dragon Zaka has comprehended the cold ice palm from the soft water palm that best suits her attributes. The freezing air will penetrate the defense of the person hit by this move, completely freezing the internal blood. The appearance of body shows no damage, but the internal life has long been cut off. In contrast, Yun Shi also have acquired their proprietary natural abilities. Desert Dragon Zaka's combat talent, Frenzied Outburst, Sand Eyes Domination. Frenzied Outburst: the more furious you are, the more power you can release, at the cost of draining your strength. Sand Eyes Domination: Desert Dragon has strange sand eyes which will increase with Desert Dragon Zaka's mood change. If necessary, it can fuse with Desert Dragon Zaka to enter the strongest war mode. Ice Dragon Zaka's battle talent, Frost Field, Ice Armor. Frost Field: the temperature of the area nearby you will continue to drop until a certain threshold. Release the forbidden spell Iceland will reach this threshold in advance, summoning many ice spirits. Ice Armor: Ice Dragon's super strong armor, automatically stimulated in a crisis, almost immune to all ice spells. It can also automatically reflect physical attacks. The thinner the armor is, the greater the reflected power would be. In addition to these almost natural abilities, Desert Dragon Zaka also mastered many forbidden spells such as Quicksand Vortex and Sandstorm Star. Ice Dragon Zaka also has ice spells such as Permafrost Ice Coffin and Frost Blade. The spells they use, without exception, do not require any incantation, which is as engraved in their bloods, 10 times stronger than that of ordinary human mage spells. If a human mage uses the same spell to attack them, it is absolutely suicidal. Red Dragon Zaka, the youngest of the 3 Zaka sisters and now the only one with a god weapon, has even more amazing attributes. Infinite will to fight. Red Dragon Zaka's will to fight is unshakable, and she will fight to the end even if she is in a desperate situation. Infinite energy. Red Dragon Zaka has nearly infinite flame essence. As long as the body does not collapse, it can constantly obtain the support of the molten fire core. Lava body. Red Dragon Zaka's body is flowing with the hot dragon blood, which can let her swim in lava, ignore all flame attacks, and reduce more than 90% of physical attacks. From the information fed by the lifelines, the youngest sister of the 3 sisters deserves the name of the Red Dragon Princess. The infinite energy she provides can even replace some of the effects of god weapon, allowing the 2 sisters who lost their respective god weapons to regain their peak status. And the person who gets the biggest benefit, naturally, is Yun Shi. The power of the 3 Zakas can be perfectly complementary because they come from the same source, and for Yun Shi, it is completely additive. Not as simple as 1 + 1. After getting part of the origin power of the 3 Zakas at the same time, Yun Shi could even clearly feel that his blood, nerves, and even thinking speed had improved by leaps and bounds. For the first time, he saw his heroic rank threshold. After stacking 3 Zaka's racial values at the same time, he finally touched the limits of this body. In terms of combat power, even if he has not yet broken through that barrier, Yun Shi, with the help of the Battle God's Seed, has long surpassed the limits of a normal hero rank. However, his comparisons are always his invincible childhood sweetheart and that pair of twin witches. Yun Shi's common sense has always been dead wrong. Good, I now declare. The 3 Dragons Alliance is formed. After experimenting with the lifelink, Desert Dragon Zaka proudly raised her index finger. Ice Dragon Zaka, on the other hand, held up her middle finger. Red Dragon Zaka, on the other hand, raised her ring finger. Well, a small alliance, a 3 Dragons Alliance of 3 Zaka, was born. Chapter 8:11, The Lost City of Kings Ka. Huge waves of darkness kept rushing out from the first level, interrupting the celebration of the newly formed 3 Dragons Alliance, while reminding this small group that the power of darkness was still overwhelmingly dominant. This is my sister's power. Looking at the tide of darkness that seemed to become even deeper and more furious, Red Dragon Zaka gritted her teeth reluctantly. The strongest Zaka. The Dragon of Doom. Desert Dragon Zaka and Ice Dragon Zaka looked at each other and shook their heads. Come on, we have to go to the upper level. Yun Shi also knew that Black Dragon Zaka's power was much more than the level he saw now. If he guessed correctly, the entire continent, by now, had been consumed by the darkness. The 3rd Princess Desert Dragon Zaka, who was originally in the royal palace, and the 4th Princess Ice Dragon Zaka's appearance here was the best proof of that. If following this trend, Yun Shi already knew who he would meet on the 3rd floor. His 1st princess and 2nd princess must be waiting for him there. They, too, are dominated by Black Dragon Zaka. Why did the twin witches, who hold the hope of this world, build the Tower of Fire in advance? Too many questions haunting Yun Shi's mind, and now there is only one thing to do. Go to the highest part of the tower, to find the last hope of the world. Once there, all the mysteries will naturally be solved. At the same time, it is also the moment of the final battle. 3 Dragons Alliance, set out. Desert Dragon Zaka rushed in the front with great enthusiasm. Red Dragon Zaka took Yun Shi's hand and walked in the middle, while Ice Dragon Zaka walked at the end. Behind the team of 4, there were countless dark substances that poured into the 2nd floor of the giant fire tower, devouring everything like crazy. Beyond the tower, the Black Dragon, who was as large as a world, stared at this tower of hope with cold and merciless eyes and gave the command. Annihilate them all, don't leave anyone alive. Yun Shi, who stepped into the 3rd floor, looked at the scenery in front of him and almost thought he was in the wrong place. Here, is it really inside the tower? Through the glowing doorway between the 2nd and 3rd floors, what unfolded in front of Yun Shi was a huge city filled with a fantasy style. This city, surrounded by a faint curtain of light, erected one after another ancient stone walls on the roads. These stone walls are carved with unknown ancient names, each of which is a symbol of glory, emitting a faint golden light in the sunlight. The circular stone roads distributed in the city are spotless, carved with simple and beautiful patterns, and on both sides of the road are countless spiked stone pillars with magic lamps, showing a symmetrical mathematical beauty. In the middle of the city, there is a huge square, and the whole square is paved by special marble, smooth as a mirror, reflecting the sunlight of the sky. Around the square, there are 12 fountains of different shapes, like 12 scales of a clock, and the fountains will start in turn according to the different times. In the center of the square, there is a beautiful statue of a young girl, holding a magic short sword made of real crystal in one hand and a book representing wisdom in the other, smiling at the city, the most glorious civilization ever born in this continent. Is this Assyria? Yun Shi looked at the landscape in front of him and recognized some of the buildings. However, what he saw was just a partial remnant of what remained after 1,000 years, and the city in front of him had long since ceased to exist in this era, or rather, it has only one name remained in this world, the Forgotten Ruins. The Assyria Royal City, the relics watched over by the kings. The statue of a maiden with a sword in one hand and a book in the other is the embodiment of this 1,000-year-old kingdom, the Queen of Assyria, who is respected by the people. The entire 3rd floor of the giant fire tower, as if turning back the clock, completely recreates this ancient city that has long since disappeared into the river of history. Let the festival begin. Only the person who captures the most beautiful mermaid will be able to grant the wish. The huge statue opened its mouth incredibly, announcing the beginning of the mermaid game. It was the dreamlike festival that Yunshi had seen in the library that only innocent girls who entered the forgotten ruins would encounter. According to the legend, the ancient queen of Assyria is immortal, and she continues to dream in the depths of the forgotten ruins. The kingdom of Assyria in the dream, still prosperous, like another river in the timeline. The 1,000-year-old capital is permanently prosperous, and will regularly hold a festival to please the queen. The main event of the festival is a game called Mermaid Game, and only the girl who can catch a mermaid can fulfill her wish. Men can't see the capital. Only a pure girl can enter the royal capital and try to catch a mermaid for her small wish of love. Ding! The bell rang and Yunshi suddenly found that everything around him had changed. The streets, which were empty, suddenly had many more people coming and going, and they looked at Yunshi and the Three Dragons Alliance squad with curious eyes, pointing at them from time to time. Where are they from? Dressed really old-fashioned. The number of mermaids at this festival seems to be the largest ever. The queen is very happy. I hope there will be a winner in the mermaid game this time too. Hey, did you guys hear that the queen seems to be making an heir, and we are going to have a princess? What's going on? These humans. Yunshi listened to the voices of the people around them, looked at the crowd surrounding the huge Queen of Assyria's statue, and fell into a great shock. Under the statue of the queen, people prayed reverently and then left one by one in order. Everything was in order. By the fountain pool, young girls are playing, chatting, wetting their little feet and white dresses, swirling out of the youthful and moving colors. Anyone who sees them can't connect them with the dead, but in Yunshi's perception, they really don't have the breath of the living. Ghosts! Yunshi tried to reach out and touch the flower girl who happened to pass by him. Lord, do you want to buy flowers? The young girl looked shyly at the Yunshi in front of her. The flowers in the basket trembled uncontrollably. Give me 3 roses. Yunshi awkwardly let go of her hand. Why can I touch her? This is not realistic. Aren't the people here ghosts? Chapter 8:12, Mermaid Game, 1. Are you more interested in this kind of little girl? Red Dragon Zaka had a contemptuous expression on her face, her high heels unceremoniously stepping on Yunshi's feet. Sister, his second princess looks even younger than this child. Desert Dragon Zaka did not hesitate to uncover Yunshi's scars. Incorrigible lolicon. Ice Dragon Zaka continued to rub salt into the wound. Yunshi could only pretend not to hear, taking 3 roses from the flower basket of the shy-eyed flower-selling girl, and then giving them to each of the Zakas. It's for me, still have a conscience. Red Dragon Zaka's anger came and went quickly, being coaxed by a single flower. Can I eat this? Desert Dragon Zaka licked the petals of the rose, then took a small bite. It's bitter. That expression was like being betrayed by the world. Sister, roses are not for eating, but you can use them to make tea. Ice Dragon Zaka pinned the rose to the corner of her hair, and by hand, used her ice power to permanently freeze the rose. This would be a treasure for her collection, and she wished to freeze this moment in time permanently, as an eternal and unchanging memory. Bought 3 roses, Yunshi only to find that he has no money, no Assyria Kingdom's money to be exact. The ancient Assyria Kingdom currency is not gold or silver coins, but some kind of state-sanctioned stone plate, inlaid with the head of the queen, collectively known as the queen's coin. Can I use this to buy the flowers? Yunshi snapped his fingers and temporarily made a third-ranked bread with his bread-making techniques. In terms of value, the 3 roses were naturally not worth this bread, but the penniless Yunshi could only barter with this. Good, oh good. The young flower girl looked surprised at the creamy bread that gave off a tempting scent. It was enough to buy half of the flowers in her basket. How can you sell our bread? Red Dragon Zaka was the first to protest. Yes, bread is to be cherished. Desert Dragon Zaka followed. It's a waste, why not give it to me to eat? Ice Dragon Zaka complained. The contempt of the three sisters made Yunshi feel both funny and annoyed, and he could only take out 3 collections from his own bread storage space to appease the discontent of his own 3rd, 4th, and 5th princesses. Bought by the bread, Red Dragon Zaka finally quieted down and began to gobble Yunshi's bread. Delicious. This can't be bought anywhere else. The bread is the only food in the palace that could not be mass-produced, the dessert that Desert Dragon Zaka had been craving for. Sister, I'll share half of it with you. Ice Dragon Zaka tore open her bread and fed it into the small squirrel-like Desert Dragon Zaka's mouth. Can you tell me when the festival is going to start? After satisfying the Zakas, Yunshi continued to ask the girl for information. Mermaid sisters will only come out at night. The flower girl pointed to the fountains around the square. They will randomly appear from the 12 fountains and start running away. Each mermaid sister will have a different ability, and it's not easy to catch them. Only those who can capture the mermaids will be able to fulfill their wishes. Take the mermaid to Her Majesty's palace and you'll be rewarded. This rule was almost similar to what Yunshi had read in the library of the royal palace, but Yunshi was not sure that this time, the mermaid game was also the same as in the past. After all, he was not a pure girl, he still appeared in this legendary Assyria royal city. It was not at all surprising that the originally harmless mermaid game had turned into a horror game. Moreover, from the time he entered until now, he did not detect the breath of Black Dragon Zaka at all, which is really too strange. The Queen of Assyria and White Moon, who were expected to be dominated by Black Dragon Zaka, all disappeared without a trace, as if they had vanished. Did they not have their minds eroded by Black Dragon Zaka like Desert Dragon Zaka and Ice Dragon Zaka? Or, is this world itself a big lie? In the end, what is true and what is unreal? Yunshi could hardly tell the point. The warm touch that just grabbed the flower girl's arm, as well as the softness of her skin, definitely does not look like something from the dead. What is hidden in this world? More flowers, my lord? My moonflowers are pretty too. My strawberries are just picked from the plantation, absolutely fresh. I have milk that has just been milked. Do you want it? Yunshi was only distracted for a moment when he found himself surrounded by a group of lovely young girls. They all looked to sell all kinds of flowers and snacks as a job, wearing slightly old but absolutely clean and tidy clothes. Their cute faces looking expectantly at Yunshi, and many of them had traces of white cream around their mouths. It looks like the flower girls shared the bread Yunshi used to pay for the flowers with her friends. From the cheerful and healthy look of these girls, they are voluntarily out to work for their families and can safely sell flowers and snacks in this square, which also represents the very good security in this country. Was the past Assyria royal capital such a prosperous and thriving city? Yunshi snapped his fingers a few times, gave away a few loaves of bread made on the spot, and began to think about the meaning of the city's existence. Just nostalgia? No, it would be too exquisite to be just that. The grass and trees, the layout of the city, and the clothing of the people are almost all perfect reproductions of the ancient Assyria royal capital. Just from the scenery of this city, the later human kingdom is too far behind to catch up with it. The design of this kingdom can accommodate millions of people living together, and the forgotten ruins Yunshi saw were only part of the remains of this huge kingdom. The lost ancient Assyria capital, the mermaid game that only starts at night, the Queen of Assyria's wish. In the dark, Yunshi felt as if he had caught a clue to something. Soon, the sun was setting and the people gathered in the square began to retire in an orderly fashion, giving up the square at night to the inhabitants of another world. "TMPH, having a good time, aren't you? You really are a hopeless liar." Red Dragon Zaka looked at Yunshi with an exasperated look of contempt. Just now, when the girls left Yunshi, that reluctant look on their faces indicated that they were obviously hooked. Now I've finally seen his human scum nature. Chapter 8:13, Mermaid Game, 2. The Assyria capital at night was less noisy and more mysterious than during the day. Under the silver moon, the small fountains located around the square began to rhythmically spurt out transparent water, turning into a magnificent water screen. The 12 largest fountains, on the other hand, began to fill with a hazy mist of water, seemingly preparing for something. It was clearly on the ground, but it gave the delusion of a palace in water, which was proof of the Assyria kingdom's pursuit and dedication to art, as well as its high artistic standards. The water element in the air is starting to reorganize. Ice Dragon Zaka touched her fingertips to the watery air and came to the conclusion that something was happening. Yun Shi, on the other hand, raised his head and looked at the silver moon in the sky. It was great that it wasn't the blood moon. Assyria in this time and space did not seem to be tainted by the power of the ancient gods, and he didn't hear the whispering of the ancient gods that made people lose their minds. Of course, even if there is a whisper, it won't work for the Zakas and him. With the passage of time, the lights of the city went out one by one, leaving only those magic street lamps still faithfully illuminating the circular paths under the darkness of the night. On the huge square, there were only Yun Shi and the three Zakas, and the water curtain landscape that kept changing its posture. One after another bubbles began to appear in the middle of the square water curtain, and even turned into a fish-like silhouette, and faintly could hear the sound of singing. That is the song that the human throat cannot make. Even the three Zakas have not heard the beautiful singing voice. Rather, Yun Shi, once beside himself, his ears have heard such a beautiful voice many times. It was the song sung by the Mermaid Queen in the world of the water god. The song was sung by mermaid brides for Yun Shi. Legend has it that the mermaid's song has the magic power to make human sailors jump off the ship and turn into part of the sea. Yun Shi is even more aware of the lovely appearance of the petite and lovely mermaid brides as they sing their songs of love. Is it true, mermaid? Yun Shi looked at the bubbles changing colors as if he had come to a fairy tale world. Hee. Nana. The voices of the young girls, which began to quietly echo in the water curtain, seemed to be observing the place from a distant world. Is it going to be a fight? Is it going to be a fight? Desert Dragon Zaka summoned her indestructible sand eyes, and was ready to take a shot of quicksand vortex to kill all of that so-and-so mermaid. Burn, sky. Red Dragon Zaka followed her sister, proudly extending her index and middle fingers, preparing to unleash a 7-star meteor fire rain. However, both Desert Dragon Zaka's sand ice storm and Red Dragon Zaka's meteor fire rain came to a screeching halt halfway through, leaving the two surprised. There's no fire element at my disposal. Red Dragon Zaka couldn't believe that the fire element, one of the world's 4 basic elements, didn't seem to exist in this strange world. It was impossible. The fire element was one of the 4 basic elements that built the world, and even in her sister Ice Dragon Zaka's Iceland, she could unleash a shower of meteoric fire without restriction. However, in this Assyria kingdom, the fire element just couldn't be at her disposal, as if it was forcibly suppressed by some kind of power. The earth is not obedient either. Desert Dragon Zaka stepped on the ground under her feet. All of it was a structure she was unfamiliar with, as if it had been completely restructured. No wonder. I felt wrong from just now. Ice Dragon Zaka shook her head. She also couldn't use her ice magic. This square, as well as the entire Assyria royal city, seemed to be covered by some kind of powerful domain, and the owner of this domain forcibly forbade all destructive magic use. In terms of the domain of magic, the owner of this city released a forbidden magic that surpassed the sum of the 3 Zakas, so all magic couldn't cause effects under this forbidden magic. Even physical attacks are the same, so if you can't break the upper limit of this domain, you probably can't do damage to the city at all. The first princess and the second princess have joined forces. Ice Dragon Zaka deduced the true nature of the city. Whether it was the city itself or the humans that seemed to be alive, it was a certain magical aspect. The 2 hands of the giant clock across the square finally came together. 12 o'clock, it was. As if announcing the arrival of something, the 12 large fountains around the Queen of Assyria square suddenly all spurted out a huge column of water. One after another playful and lovely figures happily jumped out from the water column, riding the wind and waves, swimming in the sky. Mermaids, wearing all kinds of swimsuit, wagging their tails and curiously looking at Yun Shi. Yun Shi was familiar with their faces. They were the girls of the Starwings Knights. The Count, the Marquis, and the noble girls who had occasionally been seen in the royal palace and had appeared at the festival were also amongst them. It seems that there are also many members of the White Lotus Sword Palace. At this moment, all of them have grown soft fishtails, wearing either conservative or bold swimsuits, comfortably swimming in the constantly intersecting currents. Yo, 7th, 8th, 9th, to 13th princesses are all here. Ice Dragon Zaka looked at Yunshi with contempt. You. Red Dragon Zaka's fingers were trembling, pointing at Yunshi beside her. How many girls have you had a relationship with? Oh. TSK, now there are full of people. My sister really does whatever she wants. Desert Dragon Zaka smelled. Even if they become mermaids, they look at Yunshi affectionately, and a few even wanted to swim to Yunshi. With the appearance of the mermaids, the Queen of Assyria statue spoke again. The rules of the mermaid game are 3. Mermaids will do their best to evade your pursuit, but will not run out of the city of Assyria. The more beautiful a mermaid is, the harder it is to be captured. Only the one who captures the most beautiful mermaid will be able to fulfill the wish of his heart. The mermaids with snow-white skin and bold bodies smiled at the somewhat overwhelmed Yunshi, and many of them even took the initiative to start teasing Yunshi. Only, they do not make a human voice, but with a wonderful singing voice, showing their charm. Chapter 8:14, Mermaid Game, 3, Lolololo. This was the song of the Starwings Knight's leader, Who Are You, who was wearing a swimsuit with golden embroidery on her chest, and her waist was enclosed by an apron, with the outline of her plump chest tilde visible. Her hair, with golden shell hair ornaments that no other mermaid has, looked elegant and gorgeous. She is obviously one of the most special mermaids among the mermaids. In contrast, the Starwings Knight's deputy leader wearing a one-piece swimsuit presents a healthy beauty. With a golden ratio body after advancing to the hero rank, plus the god weapon on her back, giving her a unique charm among mermaids. Ling Ling, the secretary of the Starwings Knights, is wearing a bold and exposed two-cut swimsuit. Looking at that plump chest, he is worried about whether the swimsuit straps will collapse. The usually elegant ladies of the Starwings Knights ladies, at the moment, are all wearing attractive swimsuits, clustered around Who Are You. Their snow-white skin and increasingly beautiful face let Yunshi almost not know where to focus his eyes on. Why are the mermaids wearing swimsuits? Yunshi increasingly does not understand the idea of his first princess. Why would the great Queen of Assyria choose them as the mermaids? After all, why are they mermaids, and why are they all beautiful girls in swimsuits? What is her intention? Rules: choose the most beautiful mermaid. The more beautiful the mermaid, the more difficult it is to be captured. Only the person who captures the most beautiful mermaid will be able to grant the wish. After quickly repeating the rules of this mermaid game in his head, Yunshi suddenly discovered the trap. What would it take to determine who was the most beautiful mermaid? What is the judgment benchmark? Okay, I'll catch it. Desert Dragon Zaka directly rushed towards Who Are You, who looked like the leader of the mermaids, with a fierce lunge. Ah! Who Are You shook her head gently, and her figure instantly turned into flying foam and disappeared under Desert Dragon Zaka's claws. Desert Dragon Zaka did not even catch a piece of the mermaid's scale, and directly hit the ground. They can move freely and instantly. Ice Dragon Zaka also struck, and she locked on one of the mermaids that looked weaker and easier to get at. Lulu, even after turning into a mermaid, still has a pair of rabbit ears on her head. Ah! Her rabbit ears shaking violently, and the panicked little rabbit closed her eyes all the way, and then jumped into Yunshi's embrace. Wow! The moment she hit Yunshi, the little rabbit Lulu's body turned into countless flying scattered water droplets, tenderly wrapped around Yunshi's fingertips, and then there was an extra little rabbit seal on his wrist. You have caught a mermaid. Do you want to offer her as a tribute to the Queen of Assyria? This is a mermaid named Lulu, very good at making medicine and absolutely will not betray you. If you choose her, you will have a cute and delicious little rabbit. A sudden prompt sounded in Yunshi's ears. Yay! Ah! Woo! Completely unexpected that there would be such a thing, many of the surrounding mermaids showed chagrined expressions. If Yunshi chose Lulu as the tribute, the mermaid game would be over for him. Rules: the most beautiful mermaid. Yunshi looked thoughtfully at the bunny mark that appeared on his wrist, and then looked at the mermaids around him. They seemed to have no memories of being human, more like young girls immersed in fairy tales, naive and carefree. In a sense, They are perhaps closer to the real them here, let go of all the burdens of the real world, as carefree as real mermaids. Mermaid represents not their race, but implies a pure and unblemished heart. Then, the matter of choosing the most beautiful mermaid from these pure-hearted girls is a trap. Because there are no criteria to judge who is the most beautiful mermaid. Beauty, in the eyes of everyone, has a different standard. Some people like big-chest girls. Some people like small and delicate girls. Some people like girls with long legs, and are even willing to be trampled by that long, slender legs. And there are even people who like non-humans. I can't choose. Yoon-shi sighed. He couldn't choose who was the most beautiful one amongst the girls of the Starwings. Among them, Yoon-shi simply cannot say who is the most beautiful mermaid. In addition to Lulu, the other girls of the Starwings Knights are also looking at Yoon-shi with anticipation. They seem to believe that Yoon-shi will make a choice that they are satisfied with, a choice that is very much in line with Yoon-shi's approach. Chapter 8:15, Mermaid Game, 4, Choose, is it a golden axe, a silver axe, or a wooden axe that you dropped into the spring? Is it a mermaid with large breasts, a young mermaid, or a mermaid with the longest tail? Yoon-shi looked at the dazzling array of mermaid maidens and sighed helplessly. For him, this is not a single-choice question, nor even a multiple-choice question. It was because he couldn't make a choice. Then, the rest of the choices couldn't be simpler. I will capture all of you. Yoon-shi stated his tactics. You're such an asshole. Red Dragon Zaka stepped on Yoon-shi's toes harder, but did not protest against Yoon-shi's tactics. Your strategy is sound, but you sure are an asshole. Ice Dragon Zaka and his sister on the same side, even if she also agreed with Yoon-shi's tactics. Let's battle. Probably only Desert Dragon Zaka, who's a bit on the dumb side, doesn't care about Yoon-shi's temperament, and her warrior's instincts are calling her to act in the face of this throng of mermaids. Ya. Ahahaha. He. Hum. The mermaid girls who were being watched by Yoon-shi responded with different reactions. Centered on Who Are You, the leader of the Starwing Knights, Hanazuki, most of the young ladies blushed and covered their little faces, with their tails contracted underneath them like shy roses. The commoner faction swordsmen, centered on Little Grass, deputy head of the Starwing Knights, were all glowing. Their fishtails were fluttering, just short of letting out a song. In the hazy water mist, there are more mermaid girls with curious, naive eyes looking at Yoon-shi, seeming to be looking forward to something. Start capturing it, not one less. Since he had decided to capture them all, Yoon-shi simply pulled up Red Dragon Zaka's hand, instantly launched the Thunderwalk, rushing towards the group of Starwing Knights. Since he is going to capture them all, he will start with the most familiar girls. Her. The leader of the Starwing Knights, Who Are You, revealed a mysterious smile, making a light turn, and then her figure disappeared in the water curtain. Her. Woo. The girls around Who Are You ran away in a flurry, transformed into flexible fish. The mermaid game, at this moment, officially began. Even if you can use magic, you will not be able to escape. The Desert Dragon Zaka issued a roar, leaping up high into a fierce and incomparable posture, and rushed towards the group of soft mermaid girls. Woo. Yeah. According to logic, the strength of the mermaid girls will never rival that of the Desert Dragon Zaka, but in this unique environment, they can showcase incredible ability. Whenever Desert Dragon Zaka tried to grab them, they will immediately turn into foam and flew far away from there. As long as it was covered by the water curtain, they could flee freely. And with the start of the mermaid game, the water curtain that originally only appeared on the square began to spread rapidly, distributed to the entire city. This is the real mermaid game, a fantasy game with the entire city as the venue. Move separately. Ice Dragon Zaka and Desert Dragon Zaka temporarily broke away from the range of Yoon-shi's connection, and one chased a group of mermaid girls to the west city, and another towards the north city. Yoon-shi stared at the group of girls of the Starwing Knights and rushed into the east city. The ancient capital emitted a unique charm in the moonlight. Snow-white magic lights and the laughter of maidens ammed the ancient city once again rejuvenated. Why can't I catch up with them? Yoon-shi and Red Dragon Zaka's speed was fast, but they still couldn't catch up with the girls. Several times, Yunshi was only a few miles away from the girls, but this little distance became an insurmountable rift. One side was unable to use their abilities, while the other side could move freely within the water curtain. This game had been rigged from the start. They can't use their abilities, but the other side can maneuver freely within the water curtain and escape. How do they catch the girls? After Shashant and Lokant a dozen mermaids in a row, Yunshi realized that his tactics had a huge hole. He couldn't even catch a mermaid. He thought that Ice Dragon Zaka and Desert Dragon Zaka were facing the same problem. So, how to solve the problem? Why was the little rabbit Lulu so easy to catch, while the other girls of Starwing Knights ran so fast? Clearly, the strength of Lulu definitely was not weak. Why was it that she panicked and rushed into his embrace, allowing him to achieve the achievement of keeping the rabbit? Piss off, these mermaids are cheating. After having tried a dozen times without catching a Chantal mermaid, Red Dragon Zaka pouted with anger. Cheating. Yunshi seems to have a flash of light in his mind. Yes, the rules of this mermaid game are, no restrictions on cheating are. That is to say, no matter what method to catch the mermaid can be. All means are allowed. Then the question arises, without Yukant the transcendental power, is there any way to catch mermaids? Yunshi temporarily stopped and looked at the mermaids who were far away from him because of fear or shyness and showed a thoughtful expression. Hey, why not continue to chase? Don't you want to catch all the mermaids, and then eat them all? Red Dragon Zaka puffed and looked around at the mermaids. I think that going after them like this might not be the best way. Yunshi simply sat down and observed more attentively, paying attention to every move of the mermaid girls around. For them, this is probably a dream world full of fairy tales. They can't talk in their dreams, but they are not without feelings. Curious and innocent, they are just like a piece of white paper. The girls who present the mermaid posture are pure in mind and body. Yunshi was more certain of this when he looked at the mermaids of the Starwing Knights. Compared with other innocent mermaid girls, the Starwing's Knights, as in reality, are divided into two distinct factions. Well, this faction gap is too easy to understand. Chapter 8:16, Mermaid Game, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yunshi counted the Starwing's Knights with large breasts. All of them were undoubtedly the eldest ladies of the aristocratic family. 31, 32. Apart from them, there are also a large number of girls, but they are basically civilians of the Starwing's Knights. Even in the fairy tale dream, they who incarnate as mermaids also clearly distinguish their own camps. Take Rose, a new member of the Starwing's Knights, as an example. As soon as she joined the group, she was assigned to the aristocratic family sect. Without the mask of bandages, the full peaks attracted the envy and hatred of the civilian girls of the Starwing's Knights. If they are the same here. Yunshi closed his eyes. All the offensive extraordinary powers in the city are limited, and neither magic nor dragon breath can be used. However, besides being a half-tone swordsman and a part-time disciple of the battle god genre, he also has another rank. Rather, this was his original job. The fourth-ranked life profession, baker. There are 67. Recently, he fed a lot of bread to the three Zakas. Yunshi counted his own storehouse. There were up to 100 treasures in the storehouse, and there were 67 gold cream bread, the superior product since he became a baker. This fourth-ranked bread is the highest-level treasure owned by Yunshi at present. It is a masterpiece sublimated from his most skilled formula, third-ranked golden bread. The fourth-ranked bread is a valuable and marketable supplement. Even the dragon would like to eat it. This kind of bread contains part of the original strength of Yunshi's hero rank power, a strategic level food that even the 10-Leaf Alliance urgently lacks. He still remembers that on the desert island, the girls of the Starwing's Knights loved the bread made by Mai, and even evolved the bread ranking war, which has now become a routine activity of the Starwing's Knights. If the mountain is far away, then your choice is to see the mountain, or let the mountain come to you. Yunshi took out one of the 67 rare loaves of bread and decided to put the plug on his masterpiece. These golden butter bread with magical quality gave off a delicious aroma. In the water god world, the Spider Queen from the Void had been seduced by it. On the one-day date with the twin witches, The proud Red Lotus and the holy Princess Jinwu were also captured by it. In the world of dragon war, even the ferocious red dragon ate the bread happily. Well, the ferocious red dragon has now become the 5th princess of Yunxi, and is now looking at the golden butter bread that Yunxi took out with ferocious eyes. I'm hungry. Red dragon Zaka licked her little sweet tongue. Obviously, she is not hungry, but she doesn't know why. Seeing this golden butter bread, she feels like she wants to monopolize it. I will give you a lot of things in the future. Now that I have other uses. Yunxi looks from left to right and from east to west. The methods to be used next are not very aboveboard, but they should be absolutely effective. Mermaid girls who are pure as a white paper don't have a memory of when they were human beings. Once they are chased by human beings, they will fall into a state of panic and run around. Like little rabbit Lulu, who is an idiot without a sense of direction, is only a rare example. The vast majority of mermaids have a beautiful swimming posture, and even the dragon can catch up with them in the king city of Assyria where the water curtain is all over. In that case, it would be better to change our thinking. Since these mermaid girls have an innocence that doesn't belong to human beings, once they are approached by human beings, they will flee in all directions, so it is okay not to approach them, but to let them take the initiative to throw themselves into my arms. To this end, Yunxi must take out the appropriate bait. It happens that Yunxi has such things. Will this work? They're not idiots. Red Dragon Zaka looked at Yunxi, who was tying a transparent silk thread to the bread. They are smart and have a good sense of danger, but that's also their weakness. Yunxi holds a small fishing rod in his hand, which is almost the size of an arm. If the bait is useful, he can even catch the mermaids. The plan is this. First of all, Yunxi and Red Dragon Zaka hid themselves in the bell tower. Then, the bread that was tied to the silk thread was thrown away and hung on the water curtain. Finally, it's patience. As long as you don't let them find your existence, then when the mermaid takes the bait, everything will come naturally. This is Yunxi's mermaid hook plan. Whether it works or not depends on practice. Red Dragon Zaka licked her paws. She doesn't believe that this ridiculous plan will succeed. Even the older fish in the lake can't be fooled by such a trap, let alone the smart mermaid. Mermaids are creatures that are favored by ocean gods. How could they be tempted by just a piece of bread? Take the bait. Yunxi shook the small fishing rod in his hand and directly pulled up a lovely mermaid who was alive and kicking with bread in her mouth. Ah-hoo-hoo. She is undoubtedly the best among all the mermaids. Yunxi is very familiar with her. Ling Ling, the secretary of the Starwings Knights, take the bait. What? Red Dragon Zaka stared at Ling Ling, who was easily caught by Yunxi. She was happily hugged by Yunxi and willingly melt into foam. Well, the second one. Yunxi looked at the cream-like mark on his wrist, nodded, and continued to lift out the remaining bread as bait. After about 10 seconds, the fishing rod in Yunxi's hand shook violently. It was obvious that the curious mermaids had not learned the lesson of Ling Ling and had begun to bite. With a skillful swing and shake, the third mermaid also took the bait and flew to him obediently. Darling, don't eat too much. You don't have such a big appetite as Ling Ling my lan. Yunxi touched the head of the mermaid and tore off about a fifth of the bread to satisfy my lan. Chapter 8:17, Mermaid Game, 6. In the light of the silver moon, the royal city of Assyria was covered with a sparkling water curtain. From time to time, beautiful mermaids jumped out of the water to show their perfect body and skin under the moonlight. They are the favorites blessed by the Queen of Assyria and the girls who freely enjoy the happy time in the mermaid game. In the past, their figures jumping in the moonlight have become a unique ritual in the royal city of Assyria. According to the convention, the people of Assyria who stayed in their homes all looked at these happy mermaids with smiling eyes, especially the girls who loved to listen to fairy tales, and almost kept their eyes on these beautiful fairies. However, this year's mermaid game seems a little different from usual. More than one person witnessed a fat and soft golden bread fall from the sky to the water, and then a beautiful mermaid will be attracted soon, often more than one or two. They all surrounded the fat bread curiously, smelled the smell of the strange bread from time to time, and finally could not help but open their small mouths to take a bite. At this time, the fat bread will suddenly take off, and Miss Mermaid who is biting the bread will also take off into the sky, and finally disappear in the far side. This scene had a great impact on the innocent hearts of many young girls. Why is there bread here? What happened to that bread? Kill that bread. Many girls saw that those innocent and lovely mermaid sisters were lured away by the bread and never returned. They were provoked in an instant, and their eyes became fiery, gnashing their teeth when they looked at the bread. As for other girls, especially those who had eaten some kind of bread at the Queen of Assyria Square during the day, they showed doubts. Do the mermaid sisters like that kind of bread? Why does that bread look so familiar? Yes, it must be that big brother's bread. The two opinions mixed together and finally formed a fierce argument. In the process of the girls' argument, several beautiful and lovely mermaid sisters were seduced away by the fat bread. The girls can't bear it at last. For those who look forward to the innocent and lovely mermaid girls, this scene is simply a crime. If one side of the mermaid game pursues the beautiful mermaid sisters in the normal way, just like the outsiders who have been run around just now, that is fine. What is this cheating method? No, we must protect the mermaid sisters. That damn bread must have been drugged. Let's grab the bread. So, about a few minutes later. Ha ha ha. Red Dragon Zaka almost burst into laughter and looked at the girl who was biting a loaf of bread and showed deep hatred for Yunxi. She doesn't have a mermaid tail. Instead, she has a pair of pink and lovely legs. And is wearing pajamas. Apparently, she is not their target. Little sister. Why do you bite the bread? Yunxi looked at the little girl who bit his bread hard and seemed to have a grudge against him. This is obviously a mistake. Why would even the little girl, who he doesn't know, bite the hook for the mermaids? Fortunately, there was no sharp hook in his bread. He just used superb fishing methods to hook the mermaids, otherwise it would be bad. Oh! With the spread of the crisp and soft taste of the fat bread in her mouth, coupled with the wonderful taste that is sweet enough to melt, this little girl who dedicated herself to her mermaid sisters finally seemed to understand why mermaid sisters would take the bait one by one. This bread is really delicious. Just lick it with your tongue, you will feel the taste of sweet sunshine. If you bite it down, the white cream will be squeezed out in your mouth happily. You don't need to swallow it, so it warms your whole body. This is too early for you. Hurry home. Yunxi quickly rescued the little golden bread from the little girl's mouth. That's the key strategic material for the success of this mermaid game. Sobbing. The look in the eyes of the little girl at Yunxi is about to melt. What a weak and pitiful look it is. It's impossible to refuse. You can only eat a small piece. This is too nutritious for you. Yunxi reluctantly tore off a small piece to feed the little Lori who was caught, then continued to throw out the bread and waited for the next mermaid to bite. There are more than 20 different marks on his wrist. Lulu's is a funny little rabbit mark. Ling Ling's is a sweet mark of cream pudding. My Land's is a serious bookmark. The noble girls of the Starwings Knights are very similar flower marks, including rose, tulip, and vanilla. In addition to the members of the Starwings Knights, Yunxi accidentally hooked up with several mermaid girls who didn't belong to the Starwings Knights. They were basically the predecessors of the Sword Palace. Yunxi only had some vague memories about them in class. They also appeared at the Blood Moon wedding. Most of them were earls and marquis daughters as background, that is, noble daughters guarding the kingdom. Why do they become mermaids in the mermaid game? Yunxi doesn't know what's going on. He is also confused about what criteria his first princess uses to select mermaids. To put it bluntly, all mermaid girls are beautiful, lovely, and have a pure heart. Otherwise, they won't be caught by Yunxi with golden butter bread one after another. The 23rd one. It took about 2 hours. Yunxi finally fished the mermaid girls in this district, that is, most of the members of the Starwings Knights have been successfully caught by him. Incidentally, there are 5 more pink and tender little girls on the tower. The highest age is only about 12 years old. They are brave girls who stand up to protect their mermaid sisters. They bite Yunxi's bread in advance and never let go, which eventually becomes an extra gain for Yunxi. Well, all the mermaids here should be finished. At last, Yunxi, who fished 3 little girls in a row, put away the fishing rod, gave the last half of the bread one by one to the 5 little girls with bright eyes, and jumped out of the bell tower with Red Dragon Zaka. Goodbye, big brother. Goodbye, mermaid sisters. Don't forget to join the mermaid game the next time. The little girls said goodbye to Yunxi and jumped down the bell tower to tell their new fairy tales to their friends. That is the story of the mermaids, the bread and the princesses. Chapter 8:18, Mermaid Game, 7, Assyria King City, the Western District. On the clock tower of the same style, 2 people who had also jointly implement the mermaid hook plan. This. Yunxi looked at a group of little girls around him, their eyes glowing, their cheeks flushed, and they begged for hugs. Big drops of sweat fell from his forehead. You. Lolican. Red Dragon Zaka bit Yunxi's arm like a rabbit biting a carrot. She bit his arm harder and harder. There were still traces of white cream on her mouth. There are 13 mermaids. This is the record of Yunxi and Red Dragon Zaka after they changed the fishing area. According to common sense, Yunxi's proficiency in catching mermaids has continuously increased, but it took longer, and the harvest is less than that in the Eastern District. As for the reason, there are 15 girls. All of them are little ones who don't listen to their parents and come out to bite the bait for Miss Mermaid. The oldest is 13 years old and the youngest is 8 years old. They are young princesses full of adventurous spirit. Without exception, after eating Yunxi's precious golden butter bread, these little princesses all fell into a similar drunken state, one by one immersed in the taste of happy bread. The little pink face, the snow-white skin in the pajamas, and the blushing face and glowing eyes after eating the 4th-grade golden butter bread are just like the lovely dessert delivered to the door this night, emitting a tempting smell of crime. In this regard, Yunxi said that it is definitely not his own fault. The 4th-grade golden butter bread is really too exciting for these little girls. All night tonight, they probably couldn't sleep. It's too much to replenish their energy. What else can you fish for besides bread? Red Dragon Zaka angrily looked at the growing number of little girls and wanted to find another way to catch the cunning mermaids. No. Yunxi answered firmly. It was lucky enough to think of this method to catch mermaids. You can't use any offensive and extraordinary power. The mermaid has an absolute home advantage and can shuttle infinitely through the vast water curtain world. It's impossible to capture a mermaid with normal methods except for traps or gambling that a mermaid bumps into you. In the past, the girl who completed the task of catching a mermaid in the mermaid game probably ran into a mermaid who failed to shuttle carelessly by throwing a net and chant around. Why don't we pretend to be mermaids? Red Dragon Zaka advised a bad idea. Yunxi looked at Red Dragon Zaka, who seemed to want to transform into a mermaid, and shook his head. It's not like wearing women's clothes. It can't be done by simply changing your clothes. According to his observation of the Starwings Knights, who turned into mermaids, they were not simply added with a fish tail. They also had the abilities of some fairy tale creatures, and were hardly hurt by physical and magic attacks. If you want to catch them, you have to touch their skin and body. In that moment, they will turn into foam and fly away, and then leave their own unique marks on the wrists of the people who catch them. Yunxi, who has caught many mermaids, now has dozens of beautiful and lovely marks on his wrist. He is an elite mermaid hunter. Well, the feel. After catching nearly 20 little girls, Yunxi had a preliminary experience about whether he caught a mermaid or a human little girl. The bite hook was very heavy and shook around violently. Most of those that were caught are mermaid girls. The bite hook was light and only let the fishing rod shake gently. Most of those that were caught were human little girls. Alas! It seems that I caught the wrong fish again. Yunxi shook the small fishing rod. The 4-ranked golden bread is very attractive for both mermaid and human little girls. This time, Yunxi guessed both right and wrong. What he caught was a pair of prey. Moreover, there is a big fish among them. Xiao Cao, the deputy head of the Starwings Knights. And a cute little girl from the royal city of Assyria who bites the hook with Xiao Cao. That is, 2 birds with 1 stone. 1 loaf of bread brought 2 young girls. Xiao Cao happily bit Yunxi's bread and enjoyed Yunxi's special bait with the little girl who was caught together. After they finished eating, They reached out to Yunxi with a tacit understanding. Even if they can't speak, Yunxi knows what they want to say. One more. No. Yunxi knocked on Xiao Cao's head, who was really a natural girl loyal to her own desires. The longer he gets along with her, the more he can feel her directness and loveliness. In the dormitory of the Starwings Knights, he often saw Xiao Cao wandering in the corridor without wearing clothes. It seems that she was completely unaware that she was not wearing clothes. Among the Starwings Knights, Xiao Cao is also the most absent-minded. She got the token that she can enter and leave the Sword Palace freely. She has been hanging around in the venue of the White Lotus Sword Domain for many days, and has won many games in a row. Xiao Cao frowned, looked at Yunxi who refused to provide bread, suddenly clapped her hands and began to take off her clothes. Ah! The little girl, who was caught with Xiao Cao, looked at Xiao Cao and began to take off her white pajamas too. Through the moonlight of the bell tower, Xiao Cao's healthy light brown skin forms a wonderful contrast with the snow-white and glittering skin of the little girl next to her. Yunxi instantly blushed. Like an infectious disease, Xiao Cao made a bad start, and other little girls began to learn from her to take off their clothes. No, you can't take it off. You'll be eaten by the bad guys. Red Dragon Zaka quickly stops it, or the clock tower will become an indescribable world. Yunxi reluctantly took out another piece of bread and put it on his chest. Then he felt the familiar weight and temperature. It was the unique taste of Xiao Cao, like the healthy smell of summer sunshine. The colorless foam spreads, and a sword-shaped mark is added to Yunxi's hand, which is the unique mortal sword posture of Xiao Cao. This mark gives Yunxi a special feeling. It seems that it contains some different power from other mermaids. Big brother. Delicious. Well, a girl who is not a mermaid will not disappear even if she hugs Yunxi, so Yunxi has a slightly luxurious worry. No, you absolutely can't look at them. If you dare to look, I'll blind you. In Red Dragon Zaka's angry voice, Yunxi didn't know whether he was in heaven or hell. Chapter 819, Mermaid Game 8, Assyria King City, the North District. Oh, that's what you did. Desert Dragon Zaka looked at Yunxi, with an expression of I knew it might be like this. It would be better if her claws were not savagely pressed on Yunxi's head. This is a good way, but you really are scum. Ice Dragon Zaka learned from her sister and put her dragon claw on someone's dog head. I want to go down and blow up this head. The third dragon's claw is pressed on the head of the sinner, and Red Dragon Zaka can't bear it anymore. What terrible sisters. Is the big brother going to be killed? The three little girls hid in the corner of the bell tower with frightened faces and looked at the three Zakas who were going to commit domestic violence against their lover. The Three Dragons Alliance has the same position at the moment. We must not let someone be too arrogant. I am really innocent. Yunxi surrendered with both hands. After the incident in the West District was reported to the Zaka sisters hunting in the North District by Red Dragon Zaka, the incident was out of control. Now, he deeply felt the horror of this mermaid game. The water is too deep. Although I knew he had a problem, it was too serious. Desert Dragon Zaka took a look at the three noble little girls caught by Yunxi. Why are they nobles? Because the North District is the upper-class settlement closest to the main city. Even the daughters of businessmen are not qualified to live here. They didn't get nothing from Shashant after mermaids. Now almost all mermaids from other regions are gathered in this aristocratic district, which makes it easier for Yunxi to catch mermaids. However, because there are so many noble girls living in this area, the number of curious babies is far beyond the normal probability. So, after Yunxi caught a mermaid in the first shot, he caught three noble little lollies in the second shot, which greatly increased the efficiency. This mermaid game has corrupted you. I really misunderstood you. Ice Dragon Zaka presses Yunxi's head hard. The Three Dragons Alliance has made unprecedented concerted efforts. We are still fighting. Yunxi tried his best to explain. At this time, he even hoped that Black Dragon Zaka would appear soon, otherwise he would have to face the crisis of fire in his backyard. You are cunning. No wonder my sister has blacklisted me. Desert Dragon Zaka let go, which is a means to forgive Yunxi. Remember my sister's tolerance. This is for my sister Zaka. Ice Dragon Zaka also let go. Sooner or later, the 4 sisters of Zaka will teach you a lesson. Red Dragon Zaka clenched her teeth and loosened her dragon claws. She would never forgive this guy's playfulness if she was not still fighting with Black Dragon Zaka. This guy's heart is absolutely black. Well, this time it's a mermaid. After fishing so many mermaids, Yunshi finally mastered nearly perfectly how to identify the prey. The heavy pull almost made the fishing rod bend. This time, the prey is definitely the largest in history. The golden figure fell gracefully into the bell tower. Who are you, the leader of the Starwings Knights, finally fell into the hands of Yunshi. The mountain in front of her swayed, and she smiled at Yunshi, but she didn't ask for bread like the deputy head Xiao Cao. Who are you? Yunshi's neck was gently hugged by Hua Yu's hands. Hua Yu caught by Yun, she was like a princess, enjoying the world of these 2 people in the arms of Yunshi. Be careful. There are hidden mermaids. This is the first time Yunshi has heard a mermaid make a sound. It seems that even in this state, Hua Yu, who has the blood of platinum roses, still retains some memories. Compared with other confused mermaids, she obviously has more wisdom and movability. Her intimacy with Yunshi also makes his heart beat faster. After biting Yunshi's ear and telling Yunshi this important information, Hua Yu's body also turned into foam and flew away. It was a golden foam different from other mermaid girls. Yunshi's wrist is also marked with a platinum rose. Hidden mermaid? Yunshi, who got important tips from Hua Yu, tried to recall the mermaid figure he saw in the fountain of the Queen of Assyria Square. Besides the Starwings Knights, are there any other special mermaids? In the cascading water curtain, it seems that there is indeed a familiar figure, but at a glance, it is impossible to accurately judge who it is. Who else hasn't been caught? Yunshi retrieved the Starwings Knights members he has captured so far. Hua Yu, Xiao Cao, Ling Ling, Mai Lan, Lulu. Even the newly joined Knight and Magic team was caught. Robin, and Miu Miu. After checking all the marks related to the Starwings Knights, Yunshi found the last 2 mischant fish. Robin has mysterious predictive power. It's normal that it's very difficult to capture her. Miu Miu's personality is so simple. How can she not bite the bait yet? How many mermaids do you see? Yunshi inquired about the 3 Zaka sisters. About 80. Desert Dragon Zaka gave a vague figure. It should be 81. Ice Dragon Zaka, who has excellent observation skills, gave a more accurate figure. 81. Red Dragon Zaka also gave the same number as Ice Dragon Zaka. There is no doubt that the dragon's eyesight is far beyond that of human beings, and this number is similar to the number in Yunshi's mind. Among the 81 mermaids, almost all are members of the Starwings Knights. Among the mermaids Yunshi has caught so far, most are the girls of the Starwings Knights. Except for Robin and Miu Miu, other members have basically been caught. The problem is that except for the Starwings Knights, most of the faces Yunshi had a general impression of at his wedding, but there were also a few completely unfamiliar faces. Is the hidden mermaid one of them? Yunshi found that there was a part blank in his memory. Unexpectedly, he couldn't remember the appearance of several mermaids. This is not right. Based on his observation of female artists, this phenomenon should not exist. Where did those mermaids who had never appeared in his memory come from? Chapter 820, Mermaid Game, 9. There are 19 mermaids left. The bell tower in the North District has become a paradise for all kinds of noble little lollies. They were caught by Yunshi with gold bread. Like the little guys in the East District and West District, they chirped around Yunshi like birds. Even the glare of the 3 dragons could not stop the curiosity of these little princesses. Big brother, where did you come from? Isn't Mermaid a game for girls? Big brother smells good. Feeling the murderous spirit of the 3 dragons, Yunshi smiled bitterly and put away his fishing rod. There has been no mermaid bite for a quarter of an hour. According to the experience of the previous 2 areas, all the mermaids in this area should be captured by him. The last South District is also the largest and broadest urban area of the whole King City of Assyria, accounting for almost 1/3 of the whole king city of Assyria. She has a premonition that there will be a decisive battle. Take out a piece of complete golden butter bread, and then tear it into small pieces to feed the noble little girls attracted to him. She began to think about how to catch the last mermaids. He is convinced that no member of the Starwings Knights can resist the temptation of golden bread, but not necessarily the mermaid outside the Starwings Knights. In other words, we must consider that there are mermaids who can resist the temptation of bread. This possibility exists, rather it has already appeared. Because she has found solid evidence. From the original East District to the present North District, the amount of golden butter bread he used has indeed been growing. This is not only because of the lollies, but also the existence of an invisible black hand. The black hand, or the hidden mermaid, is not sure whether it is one or several, but it is cleverly mixed with the mermaids and girls. When they bite, it will steal part of the golden butter bread. At first, she thought that the mischant bread was eaten by the mermaids or girls who were caught, but soon he found something wrong. What a clever mermaid. She calculated the consumption of the bread he used and the mermaids he caught, and found out the evidence of the existence of these hidden mermaids. As the number of mermaids decreases, it is only a matter of time before they are exposed. Everyone should go home. Have you ever seen a little strange mermaid? She touched the heads of the lovely girls and asked them what they had seen. Sure enough, a child's heart is the purest and flawless, and she doesn't even know what a lie is. Well, yes. I have seen the White Mermaid, it was very beautiful. A mermaid sister wears a mask and moves very fast. The girls, who were originally helping Miss Mermaid sisters, were cleanly bought by she with bread and gave out vital information. White, and mermaids in masks. She recalled his general impression of 81 mermaids and found that they were mermaids without data. Such a mermaid with obvious characteristics should be impossible to escape his eyes. There is no doubt that it is the hidden mermaid called by Who Are You, the head of the Starwings Knights. They seem to have more powerful abilities than the head of the Starwings Knights, and even steal she's golden bread bait. They are mermaids at the top of all mermaids. Are you impressed? She asked the three sisters of the Three Dragons Alliance around him. I have never seen such a mermaid, but I have felt strange eyes. Desert Dragon Zaka carefully pondered her intuition when Shashant the mermaids and confirmed the existence of 2 hidden mermaids. Among the 81 mermaids, there is an uncertain number. Ice Dragon Zaka also found the abnormal existences in these mermaids. Take more bread and go fishing. Red Dragon Zaka said disapprovingly. Anyway, you have an unlimited supply of bread in your hand. You can cheat these little guys. She shook her head. There was not much bread in his treasure bakery, and he had a premonition that if he didn't change his tactics, he would not be able to catch the 2 hidden mermaids even if he used all the reserves in the bakery. Compared with other mermaids, they have more powerful abilities and more fierce appetites. They are never satisfied with 1 or 2 loaves of bread. To complete the achievement of full mermaid capture, it would be impossible to rely on the current tactics alone. However, they are not without weaknesses. Come here, my tactics are like this. She summoned the 3 dragons to his side and began to arrange tactics. The final battle place, South District of Assyria. A dozen mermaids swam happily in the water curtain, leaping out of the water from time to time according to the ancient tradition, showing their vigorous posture in the moonlight. Prince, I'm number 1. I haven't found the target. Lurking in the shadow, Desert Dragon Zaka held a paper tube and whispered to the tower. Prince, I'm number 2. I haven't found anything here. You can use your bait now. Ice Dragon Zaka looked at the mirror in front of her and didn't miss any clues. Above the tower, she closed his eyes and listened to the reports of the 2 Zakas. The paper tube and connection constitute the most basic reporting device. This is the wisdom from the Mechanus god's domain. It doesn't use any extraordinary force, but only uses the sound transmission device of physical effects. With the help of the 2 Zakas, she has extra eyes and ears to catch the mysterious mermaids. Mermaids are very sensitive creatures, so both Desert Dragon Zaka and Ice Dragon Zaka are in a latent state and will never take the initiative to catch mermaids. The main force of the mermaid capture plan is still Yunxi with perfect bait. This time, he is bound to win. The golden bread with wonderful fragrance was thrown out from the high tower and stably stayed on a water curtain, attracting the curious eyes of several mermaids. They had never heard such an incredible taste, and instinctively told them that it was very, very delicious. A young mermaid, looking around, swam to the side of the bread and was ready to bite. The water surface suddenly twisted at this moment. A black halo and a white halo slammed together violently. At the moment when the young mermaid bit the hook, they tore off a small piece of golden bread with lightning speed, and then separated. Chapter 8:21, Mermaid Game, 10, there are 18 more. Yunxi gently touched the newly caught little mermaid's head, and let the mermaid, who should be a member of the White Lotus Sword Palace, turn into a foam and disappear in his arms. On the wrist, there is another mark that looks like a gentle and quiet little lady. From her age, it seems that she is not an elder or classmate of the Sword Palace, but a novice witch of the Witch Palace. Prince. Report number 1, White Mermaid found. Desert Dragon Zaka bit her paper tube excitedly and reported a major discovery to Yunxi. Prince, report number 2, there is a black mermaid. Ice Dragon Zaka also confirmed that there were black mermaids among the hidden mermaids. Who are you? The head of the Starwings Knights reminded Yunxi that the unknown hidden mermaid finally appeared. What are the characteristics of the white mermaid? What are the characteristics of the black mermaid? Yunxi asked the two Zakas who were in charge of monitoring. They saw different angles because of the Chantal line connection. I can't see clearly. It's too fast. But the white mermaid should be faster than the black one. The black mermaid is more powerful and will run to the white mermaid to fight for food. The keen eyesight of the dragon clan was useful at this time. Even if it was only for a moment, the two Zaka still got hold of the attributes of the two hidden mermaids. The white mermaid has the fastest speed among all mermaids and can snatch a small piece of golden bread from the mouth of the biting mermaid every time. The black mermaid is the strongest. She will in turn plunder the food robbed by the white mermaid. Every time two mermaids meet, they will fight. This is the truth Yunxi never thought of. Sure enough, they are special and have the power to completely overpower other mermaids. If the mermaid represents the essence of the girls trapped in the Dragon War world, then the two hidden mermaids definitely have the power to surpass the Starwings Knight's head. Who are you? Who are they? How can we catch them all? Yunxi continued to throw out golden bread bait while thinking, attracting those innocent mermaids. With the cheat item, 4th-ranked golden butter bread, a normal mermaid cannot resist. The difficulty of the mermaid game is reduced to the easy mode by Yunxi. The biggest problem now is that he needs more information about these two unknown hidden mermaids. Keep watching. After giving orders to the two Zakas, Yunxi held his breath and began to speed up to catch the last group of mermaids. Ah! Prince! Robin, who was late, bit the bread and showed a wonderful smile to Yunxi. Have you also retained some of your wisdom? Yunxi looked at his court fortune teller who was almost the last to take the bait, showing a very interesting look. The prince. The last mermaid. Be careful. Robin, who was caught by Yunxi at last, smiled after spending a happy time in the royal city of Assyria. Two birds that didn't belong to this world jumped out and couldn't wait to launch Robin's unfortunate prediction to Yunxi. If you choose the black one, it must be black. The black mystery will devour you, and you will be executed. If you choose white, it must be white. White is the representative of purity. It has the highest hand feeling. If you do it, you will be executed. Anyway, no matter which one is the death penalty, quack quack, that's good. You have no choice, because they are all dead. It's wonderful. Yunxi's forehead was dripping with cold sweat. The birds raised by his court's fortune teller never said good things. However, their predictions sound creepy, but they really work. No matter who is chosen, it is the death penalty. Is this any new method of punishment? What does the black mermaid and the white mermaid represent? Up to now, there is no retreat. If the number of 81 mermaids is not wrong, Robin is now the penultimate, and several other mermaids have also been caught by Yunxi. The final battle is about to begin. Yunxi threw away his fishing rod and bravely walked out of the bell tower. The tactic of Mermaid taking the bait is over. To catch the last two mermaids, normal means will not work. Come on, let me see who you are. Yunxi took out the last few treasures left in his hand. In order to catch these lovely mermaids, the ammunition in his bread storage card was almost exhausted. Now he has the two highest treasures in the bakery, which can be said to be the strongest weapon of the hero rank baker. The water surface fluctuated violently, and two different watermarks burst out from different water curtains. Shua. The silver white is a strange mermaid with a beautiful curve. Yunxi doesn't know her. She wears a crystal white mask on her face. The outline is more or less similar to the posture of Yunxi's white emperor appearance. The scales emitting silver glow give people a sense of sacredness and inviolability. Her swimsuit looks very different from other mermaids. It is a structure similar to an armor. Sure enough. Yes. Yunxi smelled the familiar scent. Although he was wearing a mask, Yunxi still deduced the identity of the mermaid. Miu Miu, the smallest member of the Starwings Knights. Her whole body exudes a sense of superiority. Is it the power of her blood that woke up? This is the essence of Miu Miu. If Yunxi can deduce her identity according to the exclusion method for the white mermaid, then he has no idea about who the black mermaid is. Like Miu Miu, she has a mask, but it is a black bone mask. There are two eyes on the mask, but they are not parallel just like human eyes. Instead, they are located in the center of the mask. There are two black sharp corners on the forehead, reliant a dangerous aura. Yunxi felt a great sense of oppression from her. However, at this moment, the two hidden mermaids have the same goal, which is the treasure bread in Yunxi's hands. This is the bread marked with chantal digits, which is the 4th grade golden butter bread with the longest storage time and the most delicious taste in Yunxi's bakery. Compared with other bread, they have the highest quality and temptation. In the eyes of the two mermaids, the same desire appeared. Chapter 822, Mermaid Game, End. The last two mermaids almost collided at the feet of Yunxi, stirring up the water spray all over the sky. They didn't run away because Yunxi saw them, but began a fierce confrontation. The goal is the perfect quality bread in Yunxi's hands. Hey, they can't escape. Desert Dragon Zaka leaped out of the hiding place with excited eyes. Be careful, sister, they. Ice Dragon Zaka also rushed out of the hiding place, but not to catch the mermaids, but to stop her sister. The target targeted by Desert Dragon Zaka is a silver mermaid. She looks better to catch than a black mermaid. It turned out to be an illusion. Before Desert Dragon Zaka rushed to the silver mermaid, her tail rolled up waves all over the sky, and countless waves immediately bombarded Desert Dragon Zaka, hitting it directly from the South District to the North District. On the other side, the horrible black mermaid also showed her terrible strength. One hit, just one hit, the black water column flew Ice Dragon Zaka, who was ready to support her sister Desert Dragon Zaka. In the mermaid game in which the transcendental power is limited, they impressively have terrible attributes that no other mermaid has ever had. Ultimate speed. Ultimate power. It's not a supernatural force, but just relying on the simplest attributes, it crushed two Zaka with the same physical quality and monster level. They are monsters among monsters. How can I catch it? Yunxi's forehead was dripping with cold sweat. The last hidden mermaids are the ultimate boss of the game. The silver mermaid blowing Desert Dragon Zaka away began to swing its tail in a circle, with elegant and gorgeous movements, showing a leisurely atmosphere. It's not the smell of Miu Miu known by Yunxi, but more like the smell inadvertently emanating from something lofty, sacred, and inviolable. On the other side, the black mermaid raised her index finger and middle finger, and her tail stood upright, blatantly showing her superiority in the sky and the world. This gesture. Red Dragon Zaka looked at the posture of the black mermaid and could not help looking at her fingers. Holiness and grace. Domineering and violent. Obviously, they can't feel the breath of transcendental power, but just by virtue of their physical quality, the two hidden mermaids display or even surpass the phenomenon attack of magic. The water circle behind the Silver Mermaid was constantly superimposed, and finally turned into a huge wave that broke everything, sweeping towards the Black Mermaid. The Black Mermaid's index finger and middle finger are bent, placed on the thumb, and then popped out. The invisible shockwave sent out a sharp howling sound in the air, penetrating the huge waves layer by layer, cutting the water waves like a sharp blade. The Silver Mermaid whirled quickly to avoid the penetrating shockwave. At the same time, the tail of the mermaid swung to create larger waves. The Black Mermaid raised her fist, shrunk, and then burst out. Red Dragon Zaka and She jumped at the same time, dodging the path of the fist. One fist divides the sea, which probably describes the scenery at the moment. The huge waves triggered by the Silver Mermaid were completely blown away by the Black Mermaid's fist. The extreme power even tore the seemingly indestructible land of the king city of Assyria, leaving a trace as deep as several meters. In the Mermaid game, a real damage appeared for the first time. The fist of the Black Mermaid was so domineering that even the rules of the Mermaid game could not be restrained. This power. Just because he is also limited by the rules of the Mermaid game, She can intuitively feel the horror of the Black Mermaid fist. That was a more terrible destructive power than the hard body's all-out strike, which even destroyed the rules of the Mermaid game. In the world of the Dragon War, who can throw such a punch that almost destroys the world in the real world? It's my sister. Red Dragon Zaka recognized the truth represented in the trajectory of this fist, the real mermaid with a black mask. Sure enough, it's Black Dragon Zaka. After confirming the identity of the Silver Mermaid with the exclusion method, She finally determined the identity of the last Black Mermaid. Such a terrible force, even the mermaid rules of the Queen of Assyria, can destroy the bit space. Who else is not the last strongest Black Dragon Zaka among the four sisters of Zaka? However, the essence of Mew reflected in the Mermaid game can compete with Black Dragon Zaka, but it is far beyond She's expectation. Perhaps it is because Mew in this game is not herself, but her essence, so she can do this. Considering that She obtained the hard body from the seeds shared by Mew, is there a power in Mew's blood that can resist Black Dragon Zaka? Even if their fist tore the earth, it didn't hit the Silver Mermaid that Mew incarnated, or even scratch her skin. Her speed, completely above the Black Mermaid, can be said to be invincible from the beginning. However, the power of Black Dragon Zaka is too pure and powerful, which makes Mew's Silver Mermaid helpless. When the ultimate power evolves to this level, it is invincible. Mew. She tried to call the real name of the Silver Mermaid, and gained a piece of confusion and curiosity from the eyes of the white mask. Sister Zaka. Red Dragon Zaka also tried to call the real name of the Black Mermaid, but there was no response. In that dark pupil, there was only the murderous chi that was bound to be gained. Even, from her feet, there were black traces spreading, which was a sign that the extraordinary force that should not exist in the Mermaid game began to spread. The rules of the Mermaid game can hardly limit the power of Black Dragon Zaka. La, la, la. In the suffocating atmosphere, the Silver Mermaid began to chant. It was a joyful and yearning song, an ancient ballad echoing in the starry sky. The sweet, the joyful, the sad, the painful, even the regret, and the anxiety are all the melodies of love. No matter when and where, this yearning is with you, because it is the song of my love. I was born to love you and sang loudly to pass on my love. The silver halo spread around Mew, impressively like Black Dragon Zaka, and began to break the rules of the Mermaid game. At the same time, She's ear also sounded a soft and sweet whisper. My lover, open your eyes and see the beautiful world I have created for you. Dad, use it, all the mermaid power. On She's wrist, one mark after another flew out. Who are you, head of the Starwings Knights, Platinum Rose? Deputy Commander, Grass, Mortal Sword. Secretary, Ling Ling, Cream Pudding. Secretary, My Lan, Volume. Court Diviner, Robin, Divination Book. Little Rabbit Lulu, Little Rabbit. Each mark adds a power to She, which is the reward of the Mermaid game and the signal of the end of the first phase of the Mermaid game. There were only 79 mermaids from the beginning. The last 2 mermaids were out of control and were hidden rewards. In order to obtain the final hidden reward, the owner of the Mermaid game gave the winner the reward of all the players in the first stage in advance. The prohibition of extraordinary force is lifted. Mermaid game, the second stage, is also the final showdown. Start. Ready to use. Yunshi felt his whole body suddenly lightened, and the infinite essence belonging to Red Dragon Zaka poured in at once. Finally, we can have a big fight. Red Dragon Zaka is gearing up. Even if the opponent is the strongest Black Dragon Zaka, the Red Dragon of Fire is fearless. La! 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 The Silver Mermaid who broke the prohibition of Mermaid game sang loudly, and the water wave of the whole Assyria King City suddenly began to rise, turning into a real ocean, as if it connected the endless world of water elements. I want bread. Black Dragon Zaka's black traces at her feet are increasing. Her eyes, which are turned into black mermaids, send out a palpitating sense of oppression. That feeling was like a giant enough to cover the world, which was forcibly compressed into the body of this small mermaid. A huge demon sword in red and black slowly appeared in her hand. The originally golden sword came to the third floor of the huge fire tower and began to show its horror. On the hilt of the disc, 3 treasure beads, dust, ice and nightmare, have been inlaid, making the sense of oppression released by the demon's sword reach an unprecedented level. Yunshi even has an illusion that if the sword recovers its full strength, it may tear the world of the Dragon War apart. No, this may not be an illusion, but the truth. After Black Dragon Zaka summoned the demon sword, her momentum instantly increased 10 times. There was a black dragon shadow emerging in the black traces under her feet, covering half of the royal city of Assyria like the other side of the world. If Yunshi had not obtained the power superposition of all mermaid girls in the first stage of the Mermaid game, he would not be able to withstand the pressure of Black Dragon Zaka at the moment. La! 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 The Silver Mermaid turned around the king city of Assyria like a white line. Black Dragon Zaka raised her head. The red and black demon sword in her hand emits a strange sound. The blade of the sword body starts to rotate, just like when Desert Dragon Zaka summoned the Star of the Sand. However, what Black Dragon Zaka controls is far more dangerous than the Star of the Sand, and the precursor alone is far beyond the falling momentum of the Star of the Sand. The silvery white aperture began to overlap and increase, and there was no secret skill. After the restriction was lifted, the combat effectiveness of Miu Miu was incredible even for Yunshi. We should go too. How could Red Dragon Zaka miss this century war? She firmly grasped Yunshi's hand. Well, sync, go. Yunshi closes his eyes and starts the highest level of synchronization with Red Dragon Zaka. With the power superposition of 79 mermaid girls, Yunshi naturally crossed the boundary of the hero rank in a trance and captured his own hero track. It was a very wonderful feeling. Unlike in the water god world when he was possessed by Cassina the battle god, he was a complete bystander at that time. He knew it but didn't know why. Even if he used the power far beyond the limit of the hero rank, he couldn't understand the principle. Now, Yunshi, who has stood in front of the hero rank gate, has finally seen his future road. After his race value reaches a certain critical point, he presents the heroic road in front of him. Infinite essence is transmitted from Red Dragon Zaka's body, enabling Yunshi to release more than 10 times his own secret arts. Their hearts are connected at this moment. Victory is the will of Red Dragon Zaka. To win, this is Yunshi's judgment. Strength and wisdom. Skill and heart. Hot as fire, the divine light start. Launch, Dragon Roar Wave. Together, they released their strongest ultimate combination move. At first, it was just a small dot, emitting a beautiful silvery white glow. The 4 spiral lines are regularly connected at this point, rotating and moving forward. The dark red light wave is like the tail of a comet, releasing its own light and heat. This is the holy crimson light created by Yunshi and Red Dragon Zaka. What happened? Miu Miu, who was drawing countless silver lines in the sky, tilted her head and looked at the familiar silver light spots, showing a puzzled expression. Hiss. In the mask eyes of Black Dragon Zaka, the dark pupil showed an incredible expression for the first time. Next second. Boom. The silver spiral light immediately bombarded the demon's sword dyed red and black by Black Dragon Zaka, and forcibly interrupted the moves that Black Dragon Zaka had not yet completed. This is the intuition of Yun Shi and Red Dragon Zaka. Black Dragon Zaka must not be allowed to complete that move, otherwise the whole royal city of Assyria may turn into dust. The ominous smell gathered on the demon sword was blown away by the silver spiral, and the sword was also released from the hands of Black Dragon Zaka. Overconfidence in her own strength may be the only weakness, but still a fatal weakness, of the powerful Black Dragon Zaka. The demon sword, supported by the 3 treasure beads of dust, ice and nightmare, has the power to destroy the world with one slash. The dark red holy light released by Yun Shi and Red Dragon Zaka also has such power. At least before Black Dragon Zaka gathered 4 beads, the forces of both sides were in the same position. The dark red divine light, which runs through all defenses, is the strongest trump card of Yun Shi and Red Dragon Zaka, bringing the dawn of victory. Now, Red Dragon Zaka knows that there is only one chance. If they don't take this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to defeat Black Dragon Zaka, they will never have another chance. In the dark red dragon roar wave, Yun Shi rushed forward without hesitation, and with an unstoppable momentum, he faced Black Dragon Zaka, whose right hand was paralyzed, and stuffed a large bread into her mouth. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.